To be the man, you have to beat the man, and that man is Felix Hernandez. King Felix has lived up to his nickname by dominating American League hitters with his devastating breaking stuff. The Astros feasted on Mariners pitching in Seattle, but they'll need to hold on to their bats to dethrone the King. Grab a cold one and hold on to your popcorn. Astros baseball starts now. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Astros open a 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. The good weather continues. The Astros lost 2 of 3 over the weekend to Cleveland. Now back to the AL West and a second series of the season with the Mariners. Ash?
Mariners, a ball club that the Astros were able to kind of beat up on when the Astros were out west. So we'll see if that stays the course here in this series. Obviously, the Astros would love to get these bats going again, as they did in games 2 and 3 in Seattle. Everybody joined in. They had 22 hits in their 16-run affair, not to mention 5 home runs in that ball game. 16 hits in the next one as they put 8 runs on the board, and it was join the party time for everybody.
Well, now for the Mariners, their ace, King Felix, goes tonight. The Astros did not face him in that series in Seattle. Nobody really wants to face this guy right now.
Well, he's tough on everybody, no doubt about it, Brownie. And as a club, a young club, I think there's also the tendency to be a little bit awestruck when you have Felix Hernandez on the hill. You hope that's not the case. Go out and take your swings and take your chances. But be aware that he has a great changeup to go with terrific location. Brad Peacock will be on the other side for the Astros tonight. Brad Peacock 1-1 on the season. ERA over 5. Good curveball. He's got good stuff, and it has been leading to a number of strikeouts, more than a strikeout an inning. But he's also given up some home runs and would love to cut down on what offense has taken place against him.
Now about yesterday, Julia Morales has been out to the popcorn place. She's been watching. We'll see what she has in just a moment.
game of a series between the Astros and Mariners this Monday evening. The Astros glad to put the weekend behind that was filled with highs and lows, and then a couple of close ones like yesterday's game. It came down to just a few little things as they fell to the Indians starting in the first. Brandon Laird drove deep. Drew Stubbs made a great grab there. He caught Jason Castro on the run for third. He doesn't get back in time, so that's a double play for the Indians. In the seventh, though, trying to move the runners over on first and second, Marwin Gonzalez strikes out on a foul bunt. So they leave two on base that inning, and then they walked Jose Altuve to get to Chris Carter. He strikes out with the bases loaded and just one out. So a lot of missed opportunities for this team. They're hoping to learn from that, though, as they move forward and host the Seattle Mariners. All right, coming up, it all starts tonight. The King is in town here in Houston. Coming up after the break, we'll have more on Seattle's ace and Houston's Brad Peacock as we get set for Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.
Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by the new Chicken Fajita Sub, only at Quiznos. What a gorgeous night in downtown Houston. Just a beautiful night for baseball. Just a few little light clouds there in the distance. Might be a problem on fly balls early in this game. Field is entirely in shade right now, as the Astros and the Mariners get set to open their second series of the season. The Mariners were swept in a 3-game series at Texas before this, and they were outscored 23-3. So they've lost 3 in a row. They're 7-13. The Astros are 5-13 after Houston won 2 of 3 in Seattle on the last road trip. Cole Porter's club now coming out for its second and final series of this 2-series homestand, losing 2 of 3 to Cleveland. And after this series, the Astros will be on the road, headed for Boston and New York. Salutes across the field. Now they're ready to do battle. Just a picture-perfect night. It could not get much better than this. Now the Astros take the field, and their fans hoping for a nice start to this ball game with Brad Peacock headed out to the hill, looking for his second win as an Astro. Here's the lineup he'll be facing tonight, put together by the skipper Eric Wedge of the Mariners. Franklin Gutierrez leads off in center field. It's Kyle Seager at third base. The DH Kendrys Morales bats third. It's Michael Morse, the cleanup man, in right field. Justin Smoke is at first base. Dustin Ackley at second. Jesus Montero, the catcher, bats seventh. It's Endy Chavez in left field. Brendan Ryan at shortstop.
25-year-old right-hander Brad Peacock goes for the Astros tonight. His 6th major league start, just his 4th on the season. And he comes in with some pretty good numbers in some areas. 15 strikeouts in 13 and 2/3 innings. But he has allowed 3 home runs in those 13-plus innings. So he'd like to tidy that up a bit. The hits column, 11 hits. Pretty good figure right there. 7 walks. Shave that down. On the defensive side for the Astros tonight, it'll be Jason Castro, as usual, behind the plate around the infield. From first around, it's Carlos Pena, Jose Altuve, Marwin Gonzalez, and Brandon Laird gets a start at third base. In the outfield, Justin Maxwell in center. In right, it's Rick Ankiel. And flanking on the left side, Fernando Martinez.
And the umpires are Ron Culpa behind the plate, Chris Buccioni at first, the crew chief Tom Hallian at second, Phil Cuzzi at third. There will be a day game Wednesday on the finale of this homestand. Tomorrow night the start time is the same as tonight. 7:10 will be on the air with Astros pregame live at 6:30 again tomorrow night, and 12:30 is the pregame show time for Wednesday. So the Astros now with Peacock taking the baseball. Get ready for this opener with Gutierrez, Seager, and Morales due up in the Seattle first. The Mariners held to just 3 runs and a 188 average by the Rangers pitching staff at a 278 on base percentage. A lot of strikeouts, grounded into 4 double plays, 25 left on base. They're looking for a turnaround. They are 14th in a 15-team American League in runs scored. And Franklin Gutierrez is up first. 255 for Franklin, 4 homers. He's driven in 10. First pitch in there for a strike from Peacock. Gutierrez has been bothered by some leg problems. He is 1 for 2 with a homer off Peacock this season. He's been in and out of the lineup now in the last week or so, and there's talk that he might be going on the disabled list. Michael Saunders, who made that tremendous catch against the Astros and banged into the right field wall, injured his shoulder in Seattle, is on the disabled list now, and he's eligible to come back from it on Friday. Nice off-speed pitch, Ash, with some movement back to the corner there.
That's that changeup, and delivered in a count where on the 1-1 count you don't look for it necessarily as a hitter. You're looking fastball, and so a great pitch provided you can throw it for a called strike.
Gutierrez, 30 years old. He takes that one, and it's a ball.
And that's a nice over-the-top curveball. Peacock has shown this pitch quite a bit in previous starts, and he's picked up some strikeouts with it.
He's tied for the club lead in strikeouts with 15. 3 in 1 lifetime in the majors. Fastball cracked and backhanded near the third base line by Brandon Laird. Good play to open this game.
Go ahead and test him early. Brandon Laird has swung the bat nicely for the ball club, spring training, and now into the season. And on the defensive side, gets challenged on the backhand side. That provides the long throw, and he puts it right on the money.
Good play for the first out. Now Kyle Seager. And Kyle Seager has been tough to retire lately. He's on a 10-game hitting streak, 14 hits and 37 at-bats for Seager. And he leads the league in doubles with 10 right now. 268, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in for the 25-year-old third sacker. He moves back from ball 1.
Became a good run producer for Seattle last year, second half of the year.
He went 0 for 8 in that series against Houston in Seattle, and there you see the breakdown home and road for Seager.
Like so many Seattle hitters, they have not gotten comfortable in Safeco Field.
1-1. Even though they've brought in the fences in left center field, still the Mariners are sluggish out of the gate offensively. They're dead last in the American League in slugging. Peacock had a good fastball last time. And now the curve comes in for a strike. 1-2. So he's establishing all 3 pitches very early in this game, Ash.
Doing a nice job, and that's a key, I think, for anybody, young pitcher or a veteran. Can you throw all your pitches for a strike in any given count?
Tap foul. Seager's 10-game hitting streak ties his career high. And he's in this number 2 spot in the order with Morales to follow.
Tony, you talk about the offensive woes for the Seattle Mariners. And they have numerous woes in that category. They are second to the bottom. Only Miami worst in OPS. Probably the all-around most important category offensively, other than runs scored.
Up the middle, and that gets through into center field, despite the effort by Marwin Gonzalez. It was a good pitch, but Seager extends his hitting streak to a career-high 11 games now by fighting that one off.
It's Earth Week. The average family does 6 to 8 loads of laundry a week. Washing full loads means doing fewer per week, saving money, energy, and thousands of gallons of water. Green is universal.
Seager on. Kendrys Morales, the batter, 235, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in for the Cuban-born DH, the former Angel. He went 3 for 7 and drove in a couple in the series against the Astros in Seattle. And they expect big things from him to help bolster their offense. Morales looks at ball 1. Morales is 29 years old. Last year he hit 22 homers for the Angels, drove in 73 runs. His biggest year was 09 when he had 34 bombs, 108 driven in, and a 306 batting average.
And a bad landing on home plate.
Yeah. Celebrating a game-winning homer. He was pummeled by his teammates, and that's what began the problem of broken ankle. He missed all of 2011 with that injury. In fact, he missed 678 days with that injury. It's 2-0 now for Peacock.
The effort with the changeup again. And it's not a bad place to miss.
Peacock, in his 3 starts, has totaled 13 and 2/3 innings. His longest start, 5 innings. That was the win at Seattle, April 10th. He won that game 8-3. Gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Grounded foul. So the Astros obviously would like to get more innings from their starting pitchers. The starters have combined so far in 18 games to throw 81 and 2/3 innings. The relievers have thrown 75 innings.
That's not going to cut it.
Yeah, and it's early in the season, but it has necessitated personnel moves to get fresh arms in the bullpen to try to avoid overloading the other relievers on the staff. And the latest move came today when Jose Cisnero arrived, coming in from Albuquerque, where the Oklahoma Red Hawks are playing, and he was scheduled to start tonight for Oklahoma City. He replaced yesterday's reliever who made his major league debut, Brad Oberholzer, who worked 2 innings and would not have been available tonight. So it was just a matter of getting a fresh arm here who could work in long relief if needed tonight.
Talk about those innings by starters. Only the Minnesota Twins starters have thrown less innings than the Houston Astros. But here's the difference in the two. The Astros have played 18 games, the Twins just 15.
Peacock is really close with that pitch, but it's ball 3 and it's 3-1.
Pretty good running count for Seattle should they choose to take off. It's nice to keep it down around the knees and pick for that outside edge, but as a pitcher you have to earn that call, and that comes through years of excellence.
Morales looks at it and takes a walk. 2 men on for Michael Morse now.
Another good location from Peacock.
And Peacock, who now has Seager at second, Morales at first, will face Morse, a powerful outfielder playing right tonight. And Morse, with 6 homers, 10 runs batted in, has been doing substantial damage in the power department. That's what they hoped he would do when they picked him up this season. He's facing Peacock for the first time in his career.
Only the Cleveland Indians among starting pitchers have a higher ERA, and they're pretty close with the Astros, so a lot of work to be done in that category.
Way outside, but a good play by Castro on that curve in the dirt. Ball 1.
Look at the job by Castro, and this is not just a one-time thing. He's been doing it so well. This is just anything you can time. When he gets a chance, he gets the body in front and glove down as well as anybody we've been watching. Really getting around well on that knee that gave him a problem a year ago. Look at this grip. A little bit of a, not quite a golf overlap grip. Harry Barton might have done it that way. Yeah, there you go.
He has a broken pinky finger on his right hand. He got hit by a 95-mile-per-hour fastball from Tanner Scheppers of the Rangers April 11th.
So you get that pinky finger up and over the first finger on the left hand and maybe don't have to deal with the pain.
Morse has hit .429 at Minute Maid Park. And that is first among all active players with at least 30 at-bats here. Runner takes off for third, and there's a fly ball to right field. Coming in for Rick Ankiel. And Seager is going back to second. 2 outs.
Brad Peacock is going to have to find a way to not only deal with the hitter and keep his mind focused there, but realize what's going on with base runners. After he turned his head back toward the plate, it was takeoff time back there. And just an easy bag to be stolen if not for this fly ball.
In that last start for Peacock in Oakland, they stole 3 bases.
It's exactly the same thing. Look at this jump. Yeah, that just makes it so easy. And base runners take off early from first and second. Really can't even make a throw realistically to third base. Jason Castro got burned, but it wasn't his fault at all. And then it was Dallas Keuchel having the same issues.
Justin Smoak is the batter. He's played in all of the Mariners' 20 games. Smoak looks at strike one. 188 for Justin. No homers, 3 runs batted in. 25-year-old switch hitter from Goose Creek, South Carolina, and the University of South Carolina. Trying to get it dialed in. That's what the Mariners certainly hope he can do. They're really relying on him to provide power from that first base spot. He pops it back, and this will be out of play. 0-2. Yeah, the base runners obviously have picked up on cues from Peacock.
Even this pitch right here that's fouled back, same timing. Peacock looked towards second base, turned back to the plate, had that one beat, and then on to the plate.
And it might be Ash. He might have to go with that inside move back towards second. To plant a thought that he might be doing that.
Maybe so, but I think bottom line, he's got to change that rhythm.
Now 0-2 with 2 strikes. He'll be concentrating on the hitter here, certainly, and not concerning himself with a steal of third at this point in the game.
See what that rhythm looks like right here. Gets his sign, steps off, and let's see it again. No glance.
No. In the dirt.
Sometimes no glance. Now
throw to third, and he made it. Well, Seager got going late, but he still moved to third base on that ball in the dirt as Castro couldn't get to it in time to throw him out.
Castro blocked it well, and then either didn't see it or simply didn't pick it up quickly enough. Let's see what it was. Good job on the block. Now he drops it momentarily, and then that difficult time picking it up, and that's where Seager decides, well, I've got this one. I see the baseball behind the catcher. That's rather rugged.
A ruling pass ball, although the pitch was in the dirt, so I'm not sure the basis for that decision. Maybe it was because he let it roll between his legs or something like that. We'll have to find out more about that later. Normally that would not be the case, although that was probably the slowest developing wild pitch or pass ball you might have seen in a while.
Yeah, that would be a very tough one to call either way. You just don't see it called this way. But once you block the ball, is it now possibly even in the category of error, enabling a guy to move up?
147, the Mariners batting average with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Yesterday, they were 1 for 14 with men in scoring position. Overall in the series with the Rangers, they were 1 for 24 with men in scoring position. The dribbler goes foul. Justin Smoak in the series with Houston was 1 for 11, driving in 2 runs. Mariners have not won a game here in this ballpark since June 23rd, 2002. Of course, they haven't been here much. Overall, they're 2-4 here at Minute Maid Park. Foul back out of play. And Peacock has thrown 24 pitches so far in the first inning.
You want to stay right around 15 per inning. Keep in the ball game.
He threw 95 pitches in Seattle when he beat the Mariners, going 5 innings. Last time out, he threw 92 pitches in 4 1/3 at Oakland. Foul ball again. And this is what he's had. He's had a lot of foul balls when he's pitched, Ash.
It's tough, too. You get out there, you throw strikes. Hitters will work the count deep and then start fouling pitches off. And quite frankly, in that scenario, there's nothing you can do as a pitcher. What are you going to do? Tell yourself, I'm going to find more of the plate so he puts it in play?
Dustin Ackley on deck. The shift puts Altuve out in right field. And he's talking now to Marwin Gonzalez. On the ground, off the glove of Pena, and that'll get a run home. And now first to third on the play, Morales. Altuve tracked it down. The ball hit sharply. Pena trying to cross over and backhand it. Got his mitt on it, but then it got by him, and it's ruled a single for Smoke and an RBI. That ball was smoked.
And a part of what happens when things aren't going well. You get a ground ball that maybe should be caught. I think Carlos Pena would tell you that he should catch that ball. But it gets on by and produces the game's first run.
And the ball was dropped by Altuve. There you see it.
Yeah, it's not an easy play. But again, I think most first basemen, and you can see the shake of the head. I think Carlos is saying to himself, man, I make that play most of the time.
Dustin Ackley, with a 161 average, has driven in 1. Ackley looks at it. It's ball 1 to the second Sacker, who had 2 hits in 10 at-bats against the Astros in Seattle. 25 years old, from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And he hit .412 at the University of North Carolina. It's a 1-1 count, as Ron Kulpa indicates. Peacock hit the strike zone. Ackley was a first-round pick in 2009. He was the second overall draftee. Last year had 50 runs batted in 607 at-bats. In the dirt, and Castro checks the runners. They don't advance. It's 2-1. 29 pitches so far for Peacock in this inning.
Jason Castro's getting a workout here in the first inning.
Peacock has just started the 1 game against Seattle in his career. That was the win on that last road trip at Safeco Field. Upstairs for a ball. Ackley's worked the count to 3-1. Mariners won 75 and lost 87 last year, finishing in 4th and last place in the AL West. Now there are 5 teams in the division. Ackley pops it up. Carlos Pena sprints in. Castro gives way to the first Sacker, who has it for the 3rd out. And it's 1 run, 2 hits, and a couple of men left. We look at Jose Altuve about to lead off the Astros first in a moment. a 1-0 lead. Here's the lineup Felix Hernandez will be facing. Bo Porter begins with Jose Altuve at second base on a 7-game hitting streak. Then it's Jason Castro following Fernando Martinez. Chris Carter is the DH, hitting fourth. Carlos Pena, Brandon Laird, Justin Maxwell, Rick Ankiel, and Marwin Gonzalez.
And on the mound for Seattle, Felix Hernandez. He's only 2 years older than Brad Peacock, 27 years of age, but the difference being 99 wins along the way. He's in his 9th season in the major leagues, one of the game's outstanding pitchers, former Cy Young Award winner, and off to a great start on his season.
Looking for career win number 100 tonight. 2 Mariners in the history of their club have notched 100 wins or more. Jose Altuve at 370 leads all second basemen in batting average. And he fouls it back, strike one. He's currently on a 7-game hitting streak. And he has 27 hits. That's tied for second in the American League, with that 370 average, ranking 7th in the league. And it's no balls, 2 strikes. King Felix is 3rd in innings pitched in the American League. He's worked 28 2/3 innings in his first 4 starts of the year. Signed as a free agent in 2002. He's a 3-time All-Star. And he gets a strikeout.
Oh, that ball just fighting straight downward behind King Felix tonight. And behind the plate to start it, Jesus Montero will do the catching around the infield. Justin Smoke at first, Dustin Ackley, Brendan Ryan, and he's a very good shortstop. Kyle Seager with the red-hot bat at third. In the outfield, Franklin Gutierrez, once upon a time one of the great go-getter outfielders in center. Michael Morrison right, and Eddie Chavez in left.
Fernando Martinez hit a homer on his first pitch in the major leagues this season. That was yesterday to left field. There's strike one to Fernando. Just off a 15-day disabled list injury rehab assignment. 1 for 2 in the game yesterday. Hit the home run off Ubaldo Jimenez of Cleveland in the Landry's Crawford boxes to give the Astros a 2-0 first inning lead in that game. 4 balls, 2 strikes. Felix Hernandez had one other start against the Astros, and he got a no decision. That was here in Houston in June of 2007. Off-speed pitch moving away from Fernando, 1-2, and Mike Lamb homered off him in that game. Gave up 12 hits and 4 runs in 6 innings. That's pretty good hitting against this guy. He can be dynamic. Batting average against him this year, .213. 2-2. Locked him up on a 7-year contract extension.
Young man should not have financial woes throughout his life.
But he was really emotional about that.
Yes, he was.
Ground ball goes foul. He went back to the offices of the Mariners in Seattle, leaving spring training in Arizona. And they had a big function for him, and all the employees were waiting for him when he got off the elevator up in their offices. He was really humbled by that greeting that he got from the people who work in the office. Last year he was 13-9 with a 3.06 ERA. He gets strikeout number 2 to open the game. Montero with the throw.
August 15th of last year, perfect game number 23 in the major leagues, authored by Felix Hernandez. And there's a good breaking ball, the curve ball, that another one over the top. That's the change or splitter right there as he polished it off and pointing to the skies. And the fans in Seattle able to take part in that one.
924 strikeouts, said so. 9th among all pitchers. Low ERA. 5 shutouts last year. 4 1-0 wins last year. He typically does not get much run support. There's strike one to Jason Castro at 222. He has 1 homer and 3 runs batted in.
You can see the fastballs here in this first inning. 92, 93 miles an hour on the 4-seamer. It's not the same as he once was, but that curveball and the versions of changeups and slider that he possesses, just extremely difficult to handle.
Last year he was 2nd in innings with 232 in the American League, and he struck out 223. Castro looks at ball 2, 2-1 to Jason. Jason went 2 for 9 in the Cleveland series and had those 2 hits yesterday, batting third. Jamie Moyer with 145 wins is the all-time Seattle leader. Fly ball left field headed for the corner. On the run, Andy Chavez. Andy Chavez plays it off the wall. It kicks back toward the infield. Shortstop didn't go out to help him. And into second with a double is Castro. Now, Brendan Ryan's played in this ballpark before. And the shortstop really is going to help his team by going out on a ball like that in case it does what it did there. Kicks by the left fielder back toward the infield.
Ball really didn't hit high off the wall, and so even with this pretty hitting by Jason Castro, and he's going the other way so well here of late, but maybe a catchable ball. It just depends how much you're willing to take your body up against that tough scoreboard.
It's a double either way, and Chris Carter's the batter. Carter takes a look at strike one. Carter had a rough day yesterday. 212, 4 homers, 10 runs batted in. Had a big series though in Seattle, going 8 for 15 with 3 homers. Had 2 long balls in 1 game. 5th double for Castro. Ground ball goes foul. 0-2. It's not as if it was a big deal on that ball that Castro hit, but if that ball caroms by the left fielder back toward the infield and the shortstop doesn't go out, a fast runner could get to third on that.
Chris Carter has been struggling of late. A lot of strikeouts involved, and what a tough time coming up with the knocks. You can see down and away has really been the tough spot. 0 for 6 in this recent span, although he's also struggling on pitches down the middle. 2 for 11, but that slider to put away the game yesterday just has been eating him alive. Tough to lay off.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Carter did deliver a sacrifice fly as he pinch hit for Fernando Martinez in the 6th inning yesterday against the lefty Nick Hagedorn, and that tied the ball game. But then he struck out looking in the 7th with runners at 2nd and 3rd, and he struck out swinging in the 9th with the bases loaded and 1 out. Ball keeps the count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. Carter is 0 for 3 in his career against King Felix.
You can bet that Felix Hernandez knows the numbers on Chris Carter and the other guys for that matter. Where they handle pitches, where they don't. Try to stay down and away as often as possible, although in order to have that be effective, you've got to be able to work up and in.
Carter looks at it, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, they tried to come in, did come in, down, and I don't know if that's exactly where Felix wanted the pitch. So the catcher set up in, and then kind of looks like a reaction to go to the backhand and take this low pitch. Come up and in. One way or another, you want to come in to set up away.
Hard to believe King Felix is just 27. He reached the big leagues in 05.
Peacock is 25, and yet so much difference in the career numbers, obviously.
3-2 now as he bounced the curveball. Well, in 09, Hernandez went 19 and 5 with a 2.49 ERA. He won the Cy Young Award in 2010, leading the league in ERA with a 2.27, but he was 13 and 12. And that was viewed as kind of a breakthrough year for the Cy Young voters. They didn't go by wins and losses as much as the other statistics he compiled, including 249 innings pitched. Foul ball, and he struck out 232. So the metrics in the minds of the Cy Young voters, it seems, have changed the last few years. They're looking at more things than wins, losses, and ERA.
Cy Young starting to mean a little bit more who really was the best pitcher. And I think that's really quite fair. I wonder what's going through Hernandez's mind right now as he tries to finish off Carter with not making that mistake through the plate, waiting on deck. Carlos Pena, 2 for 17 lifetime against Felix.
He got him with a heater. And it's strikeout number 3 for Hernandez. No runs, a hit, and a man left. 1-0 Mariners after 1.
Seattle leading the Astros 1-0. So we head to the top of the second. Brad Peacock going back to work. He says it feels like it's been a long time since he's been on the mound. It's only been since last Tuesday at Oakland, but he's glad to get back out there. And he told me one of his goals moving forward was to get past that 5th inning. His longest outing, of course, is 5 innings. But while that's on his mind, he's not letting the performances of other starting pitchers affect him. He's not putting any extra pressure on himself, guys. He could use a shutdown inning or two, though, here coming up, don't you think?
Definitely so, Julia. In fact, he could use maybe a quick ground ball out here and there in this inning to try to help regroup from that effort of the first, in which he threw 31 pitches.
I think when you factor in that curveball and what he brings along with the average fastball, got a chance to be quite successful. That's a good-looking hook he has.
Jesus Montero leads it off. He's on a 4-game hitting streak. 2-17. First pitch right there, strike one. Very good pitch there for Brad Peacock. Yeah, he has some definite tools in his arsenal. And attacks him with that one. 0-2.
Just a couple of fastballs, but well spotted.
Peacock is from Palm Beach, Florida. Went to Palm Beach State College. Drafted by Washington. Traded to Oakland. The Astros picked him up in that trade in February. Lined and fouled. Montero is 23 years old. He's from Venezuela. He was one of the top Yankee prospects. They signed him in 2006. Traded along with pitcher Hector Noesi, who is in the bullpen for the Mariners tonight, for Michael Pineda and Jose Campos. Pineda was hurt last year. Another curve, and it's 1-2.
Pineda, his first year on the scene with Seattle, looked like he was going to be another one of the game's great pitchers. I mean, no question. And then the arm went bad after that trade on to the Yankees.
Fastball, look for a foul tip, strikeout. Well, if you're watching that at bat, you might think, why does he mess around with a curveball, Ash?
90 miles an hour, though, will tell you that it's not overpowering stuff. He slips it by Montero, who's a struggling hitter among many on the Seattle lineup.
And of course, you give a major league hitter too many looks at your fastball, and it's not a rocket-powered fastball, that might not work out.
Well, even guys that can go 94 to 96, if that's all they have, hitters turn up the dial and hack away.
Andy Chavez takes ball one. An excellent defensive player, playing left field tonight. He can be a center fielder too. He can really track him down. Played with several clubs in his career. He looks at a strike. That makes it 1-1 to Andy.
Get that guy high leg kick and trying to wind up and get a big swing on a fastball. But that fastball's well spotted down and away. Just take it time.
In tight to him. That spins him out of there. 2 balls and a strike.
Just crank it time. But where's the pitch? If you don't get it through the heart of the plate, you kind of lose the ability to utilize that big crank.
Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That leg kick has been around for a while now. And some guys have gotten away from such a high leg kick like he has. It's hard to coordinate that. You're on one leg for a while, Ash, and then to get your weight moving and your swing coordinated at just the right time, it's not an easy thing to do.
If you get the pitcher looking for, it's ideal. That was not ideal for some fans on the third base side. That ball got in the seats very quickly. Fastball up and away. You go ahead and crank up to a lesser degree anyway. And the fastball's not where you're looking for it. And look out, folks.
Chris Carter's very close to the left field line on Andy Chavez. It's 3-2. The way they play it. Brendan Ryan on deck. Chavez came up from AAA Tacoma April 11th when Michael Saunders got hurt. Bouncer Peacock. 2 outs.
It's a nice play. You got to love having that fifth infielder. If you can make the plays on the hill, you save a bunch of hits. It's coming back at you. How do you get ready? Now, I don't know that I could say he's squared up to make the play, but sometimes the ball will catch you on the glove side, and that's really what takes place here.
Right into his glove. 2 outs, and here's Brendan Ryan now. Slow starting Brendan Ryan, 160, 2 runs batted in. 083 his last 13 games.
Brendan Ryan is one of those players that you can afford to not get a whole lot from offensively. Now 160 is pushing the limits, but he is that good defensively at short.
He saved 27 runs last year, according to the folks at the Fielding Bible, who gave him the award as the top fielding shortstop in Major League Baseball.
That's based on the average fielding shortstop?
Not sure.
Yeah, I'd like to know where they're coming from on that, but you're not going to get any questions from me about his abilities at shortstop. They're exceptional.
His ultimate zone rating was #1 in the majors.
One of any position?
#1 at shortstop.
Okay.
I wonder what the ultimate zone rating of a catcher is.
How much ground can you cover as a catcher? It's essential.
Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ray Oyler was a good shortstop with Detroit back in the late 60s. He didn't hit anything.
Well, there have been a number of those guys. Gene Michael, fine general manager as well.
Al Maxfield didn't hit very much. Now 3-2 to Brendan Ryan, who was with the Cardinals. They drafted him in 03, and Seattle got him in a trade after the 2010 season.
That's hard to argue the pitcher who says, I want this guy behind me.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of that is predicated on what kind of an offense you have around him.
Fly ball left field. Carter back on the track for a 1-2-3 second. On the 4th 3-ball count for Peacock. Due up. Carlos Pena could take you deep, or Brandon Laird, or Justin Maxwell next. The Mariners lead the Astros 1-0. Bottom of the second, a moment away. And here is our Geico quote of the day. And Nolan Ryan, of course, the author of No-hitter number 5 with the Astros. It helps if the hitter thinks you're a little crazy, said Nolan Ryan. Went on to pitch 2 more no-hitters with the Rangers. So if that's true, then Ryan Duran and Joaquin Andujar should have been in really good shape.
Joaquin's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I don't know if anybody thought Nolan was crazy, but I know they didn't get anxious about getting to the plate when he was on the hill.
The left fielder backs up. Endy Chavez on a drive by Carlos Pena, way back to where the wall ends, and he played it well. The ball was there a long time for him, but he got back for out number 1.
Carlos Pena has to be grumbling to himself. What am I doing? Just hit it about 5 feet to the left, and this ball is easily out of here.
That's right.
Ball's hit well on a pitch away. It's one of the most intriguing angle parts of a ballpark, I think, in any place in the major leagues.
Well, Chavez was stationed perfectly to go back on that ball. Brandon Laird looks at ball 1. Laird at 250 with 1 homer, 1 RBI. Joined the Astros and started the last couple games. He played first base yesterday and the day before. He hit that homer the day before yesterday. Saturday night he went deep off lefty Scott Kazmir. 2-0 to Brandon Laird, who's hit well ever since spring training started. And he hit .353 at AAA. He drove in 14 runs in 12 games for the Red Hawks. A waiver claim by Jeff Luhnow. Very good hitting credentials, also good fielding credentials in the minor leagues. This is his 31st major league game.
I think that's pretty nice when you're an MVP of any league you play in along the way.
True.
Nice at AA. A lot of prospects at that level.
He's giving Matt Dominguez a rest tonight. Dominguez has played in all but 1 game so far. Strikeout number 4 for Felix Hernandez.
That changeup will put you away. If you're going to go up there and try to get a big swing, maybe pull one, and you're looking fastball speed, this changeup just leaves you out in front.
It's a hard changeup.
Yeah, it is. It's just taking 3-4 miles an hour off the fastball, and it leaves hitters unable to deal with it.
Justin Maxwell, a .236 hitter with 1 homer, has 5 runs batted in.
And I want you to understand, it's the arm speed that creates that difference. Hitters are swinging at that fastball arm speed, and you change it by 3 or 4 miles an hour, and it's just so tough.
All ball, strike 1.
Those are great variety of pitches. I've seen 1 or 2 cutters here this evening, so he's even mixing into there, but got a great curveball and slider, and that changeup so dominant. And I get the impression, watching some of his pitches, that he's got a splitter mixed in, but I don't know that that's being acknowledged. He throws a pitch that goes straight down.
We were told his change looks like a splitter.
And watching the strikeout changeup there on Brandon Laird, it was just kind of a falling little bit of a changeup. But he's thrown some that look like they're over-the-top sliders that are biting straight to the ground. Or, more realistically, splitters. I don't know if he knows when he's throwing one versus the other. I'll try to point out the next time I see what look there is the one that looks like it could be a splitter. Maybe the slider.
J-Max laying off, ball 2.
It's tough to make a slider go straight down, but watch this ball. Down. Splitter, that's the natural reaction. Slider, it should be running away from the right-hand hitter.
Tap foul for a 2-ball-2-strike count.
Two-seam fastball dipping a little bit. This gives you a different look time and time again.
There's a brand new stat for pitchers based on what Hernandez has done.
I think we need one.
All right. 8 innings. Allowing 1 run or less. He's done that a number of times in his career. Certainly better than a quality start, isn't it?
By a wide margin. Yeah, And what percentage of those games allowing 1 run or less over 8 innings should a guy realistically expect to win? I would think it would be a very high figure.
You bet. That's a strikeout, and that's number 5. Through 2, it's 1-0 Mariners. Single, and it's 1-0. We want to remind you to tune in to Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score but the experience. Plenty of kids here tonight on a gorgeous night in downtown Houston. They saw the Mariners take the lead on a 2-out, 2-strike single by Justin Smoke in the first inning off the glove of Carlos Pena. Now Brad Peacock comes back out after a 1-2-3 second. He's thrown 49 pitches through the first 2. It'll be Gutierrez, Seager, and Morales due up in inning number 3 for the Mariners.
Sure, we've said that Jose Altuve can cover some ground, but he's got some competition there in the seats.
I bet he does. Gutierrez grounded out to third on a good play by Brandon Laird, leading off the game. Braves and Rockies postponed snow in Colorado. They're both 13-5. Peacock looks down at his footing after delivering ball 1. Marlins and Twins postponed. Bad weather in the Twin Cities. Broken bat into center field, and Gutierrez is aboard. The number 3 for Seattle.
All that weather you mentioned, just when it's starting to look like the warmth is starting to settle in here in Houston.
Yeah.
Gutierrez off the end of the bat, but finds center field.
He won't be using that bat next time up.
That's a splat hit, but bats die heroes.
Gutierrez is aboard for Seager. Seager singled to center field and came around to score a run to extend his hitting streak to 11 games. Double play setup for Gonzalez and Altuve. Seager takes a look at it, and it's ball 1. Gutierrez has been a base stealer in the past. 74 career steals, 81% of the time. He's tried it, he's made it. But he's been bothered by leg problems recently, so maybe shutting it down as far as stolen base attempts in this series. Peacock holding the ball, then stepping off, and I'm sure they talked about it, he and Doug Brocail and skipper Bo Porter, about the need to combat the running game after what happened last time out in Oakland.
What I'd like to see is if he has the ball ready to throw to the plate and an infielder hauler step off, that he could actually make that move.
Well, and that's what they did last time out, but you know, the dugout in Oakland, was a long way from the field, so he may not have heard. You should be able to hear your first baseman yell.
First baseman should be hollering right away. Catchers can see it a lot of the time. Sometimes pitchers just seem to be unable to react to it.
It's 2-0. Well, there are no secrets of that sort in baseball, so if one team did it, others would be trying to do it.
Scouts are picking it up. Everything that goes on, those scouts will pick up and relay on to their club.
As Bob Dole would say, you know it, I know it, the American people know it.
I had no idea Bob Dole was going to enter this broadcast.
Way outside off the mid of Castro, and now Gutierrez will easily move to second base on ball 3. Runner at second, nobody out, and Seager has a 3-0 count.
I'll tell you, every time the toughest area for a catcher to deal with is that pitch down and away to his glove side. Backhand so much easier than that glove side. Glove side is kind of like with the sinker ball that will just turn your hand over and beat you up alive.
Pena over, Castro out. Peacock gets ready to go back to work on Seager with a 3-0 count. Brad part of the mix in competing for spots on the starting rotation for the Astros in spring training. This is start number 4 for him. It's 3-1. And the Astros will follow him up in this series with Bud Norris tomorrow night and Lucas Harrell Wednesday afternoon. 32-year-old veteran Hisashi Iwakuma goes tomorrow night for Seattle with a 1.69 ERA. And Joe Saunders Wednesday. High drive right field. 2-run homer here for Seager. Number 2 of the season for Kyle Seager. It gives him 9 runs batted in, and it's a 3-0 Mariner lead.
Well, like we mentioned, Seager last year, a run producer late in the year, really did a great job in that regard and picks it up here in Houston.
Seager scores his second run of the night, and here's the swing.
Well, he gets a fastball. Maybe just in a bit from the heart of the plate, but that was a no-doubt shot, and Seager knew it the instant he hit it.
Home run number 18 for the Mariners this season. Anthony Morales next. Strike one.
This is getting what you're looking for, getting the barrel out, players will say. Get the head out and dropping it on the baseball.
Kendrys Morales, he walked his first time. Fly ball off the end of the bat near the left field line. Carter coming in and over. Carter has it. One down. Michael Morse will be next. The Mariners scored just 15 runs in 3 games. And the Astros were in Seattle. That's not a bad average, but the Astros scored 24.
16-run game, game 2 in that series. It'll take care of business.
Morris hit the fly ball to right in the first inning. Ground ball to short. Marwin. 2 out.
Marwin's kind of casual there at shortstop. He can make the plays.
It's game 1 of a 3-game series. It's 3-0 Mariners in the 3rd inning here at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales. Julia made all the highlight shows by interviewing the guy with the tub of popcorn yesterday. He caught the home run ball in right field.
It's a good get. And I heard the guy really didn't like talking to the media.
Justin Smoke had the RBI signal off Pena's glove. That's ball 1.
So way to go, Julia.
Well, he told her the story about not bringing a glove to catch a home run ball and instead getting a tub of popcorn so he could catch the ball in there.
This is in Seattle. This is the beer catch. And you think he's done now? Yeah, let's add to it right there. Why bother drinking it? Let's pour it right down the shirt. It's going to feel lots better that way. And now the popcorn catch yesterday. Unfortunately, Rick Ankiel didn't have the popcorn barrel.
2 balls and a strike. Didn't even get to taste it, although there was a lot of it on the warning track.
How about the slow-mo of that popcorn flying all over?
Too many shots like that on home runs. Ground ball to first. Pena will take it over for out number 3, and it's 2 runs, 2 hits. Seager goes deep for the second time to make it 3-0 Mariners.
The Astros 3-0 in the third. And these guys that I'm sitting next to right now told me they played basketball, and I made them stand up so they could prove it. All right. They play basketball. For the Houston Rockets, I have James Anderson, Chandler Parsons, and Aaron Brooks with me right now. And yes, they were in Oklahoma City last night playing their guts out. Tough loss for you guys, but what brings you out here to the Astros game today, Chandler?
Just to come out here and support the Astros, and I know a couple of the guys, so I just came out here to check them out and hopefully bring them a win.
Good to get the mind off basketball for a second, maybe?
As much as you can, but right now we're focused right now on the playoffs, but definitely a time to come out here and just enjoy ourselves before we head back to OKC tomorrow.
Chandler says he's pretty good at baseball, or he has some baseball in his background. When did you play?
I played when I was very young, like when I was T-ball, and then 9, 10, 11-year-old, I played at AAU and did the whole Cooperstown. And
don't get shy now. You were talking about national championships earlier.
No, I was pretty good. Look it up. You'll find out.
We'll look it up. And also, Aaron Brooks, I kind of have to throw him under the bus a little bit. He's from Seattle. Aaron, who are you cheering for in this game?
Oh, I'm not cheering at all. I'm just enjoying 2 fine teams play baseball. I'm very neutral to this game right now.
He's playing his cards right now because he is from Seattle. He told me he's a season ticket holder. But today, it's about the Astros. Guys, up to you.
Politically correct. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Thanks, Julia. Rick Ankiel had a couple of hits yesterday, and they were both leading off innings. He had a single leading off the 7th and a double leading off the 9th, so close to getting home, but he was stranded at third both times. And a pop-up goes Brendan Ryan's way. And it's out number 1 for Felix Hernandez. Well, Wednesday at 5 o'clock, the Rockets at the Thunder. That's the game they were talking about. And the Rockets were thunderstruck last night. But Harden and Lynn look to bounce back to even the score. Rockets and Thunder. It all starts with Rockets pregame live Wednesday at 5.
By the way, Julia, at the beginning of that interview with the guys out there, wasn't implying that if you can stand up, you can play in the NBA, was she?
She might have been. We'll have to go back to her for further explanation. Marwin Gonzalez at 308 has 2 homers and 6 runs batted in. He had that big series in Seattle. Julia, we're not trying to trap you.
No,
really.
Brownie, I say that because Chandler's legs are just reaching over the chair in front of him. There's not enough room for these guys in these rows. They're so tall.
So it wasn't the implication that
Not
if
at
they can
all.
stand up, then therefore they can play.
Not at all.
Second baseman Ackley to his left. And he flips out Marwin Gonzalez, who went 5 for 6 with 2 homers in that series in Seattle. But right now, King Felix, who did not face the Astros on that occasion, is mowing them down. He struck out 5. And in this inning, no strikeouts, but a couple of easy outs. And Altuve will come up to challenge him now for the second time tonight. In the first start of the year for Felix, he shut out the Oakland A's in Oakland for 7 2/3 innings, and that was his win, 2-0. Then he got back-to-back losses, and last time out a no decision. But in the no decision against Detroit, 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts, and he did not get a win. Line into right field. Altuve's aboard, and that's an 8-game hitting streak for Jose. Hit number 2 for the Astros.
Sometimes you get pitches to handle. Sometimes you handle pitches that were really tough. And the latter's the case right here for Jose Altuve. Outside edge, maybe off the outside edge, reaching out and just spoiling and lining it to right. That's a good hitter at work.
Attack the first pitch. It's aboard now with Fernando Martinez batting. Fernando struck out in the first inning. 28 hits, second to Torrey Hunter in the American League. Torrey's in over 400 for Detroit. That's inside, and Montero made the catch on it. This Felix quality start, Ash, that we talked about earlier, 8 innings or more, 1 or fewer runs. Felix had 12 of those last year, and that was twice as many as any other American League pitcher.
That's amazing stuff.
During his Cy Young season in 2010, he had 13 of those starts. And so he's coming off another one, but the last one against Detroit, he got a no decision.
Pitched almost 250 innings, 1/3 of an inning shy in that Cy Young Award season. Almost a strikeout on him.
Grounded to second. On a knee, Ackley throwing over to Smoke. It's no runs a hit, and the man stranded after 3-0 Seattle. Nothing. The Mariners lead the Astros. We're headed into the top of the 4th inning. It'll be Ackley, Montero, and Chavez. And prorated tickets available right now at 1-877-9-ASTROS or Astros.com. Fans are here enjoying a beautiful night. Ackley, who fouled out to the first baseman Carlos Pena with 2 men on, will lead it off here in the 4th inning. And for Brad Peacock, and Astros starting pitchers have had this situation several times already in the first 18 games. They're up against a tough hurler, and there are several in the American League West. Their hitters have had to struggle to get 2 hits through 3, and they've given up 3 runs, so this is where it gets to be very challenging for Brad Peacock and the others who have been in this situation to try to keep this game within reach. Ackley takes it, and it's ball. Peacock came up with the Washington Nationals when Bo Porter was a coach there, and Bo was quite impressive. That catches the edge, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Near the left field line, it's slicing away from Chris Carter, but it's a fair ball into that corner. Ackley is into second base with an opposite field double, his second double of the year.
And now our pitch-by-pitch presented by Steel Dealers. Jesus Montero last time up. Brad Peacock started with a fastball bottom of the knees, went right down there, found a little more of the knees for the second strike. Then comes that good curveball that's fouled off. He tries to bite one in the dirt, doesn't get the swing. But the fastball comes right back for the strikeout.
Montero with that strikeout in the second inning now comes around for the second time with a man in scoring position and nobody out. So a strikeout here would not make anybody happy in the least. And that Seattle bench, there's ball 1. And Montero, even though he's young and he's a good young player who defensively has not progressed maybe as fast as some would have liked, there's that possibility he could be used as a DH if Mike Cisnero is ready to join this big league club as the catcher. And that might be happening at some point this year. Mike Cisnero is the top Mariners catching prospect, and he had an 0 for 20 stretch. He's in AAA already. He was the second or third player drafted last June. It's a high drive to center field. Maxwell headed back, watching this one fly way over his head, and that one is a 2-run shot. And Montero now makes it 5-0. Montero hits number 1 of the season, giving him 4 runs batted in, and it's a 5-0 lead.
Well, he's got a chance of being a DH a good part of the time if he can hit baseballs like this. This ball was hammered. Get that 1-0 and you look fastball and get it through the heart of the plate, and that's just a guy teeing off.
Andy Chavez is next. That's Fernando Martinez in left field, by the way, not Chris Carter, as I said earlier. Chavez grounded back to the pitcher, Brad Peacock, earlier. And there's strike one. But this Mike Cisnero situation, despite the long ball from Montero, could get interesting for Seattle later on this year. He was 2 for 5 with a homer on Saturday, and there are those who think that he is ready to go defensively with a line shot, and Fernando Martinez over for this one. 3 straight hits by the M's, and they now have 7 in this game. That's a quick development, though, for a catcher to come right out of college.
Isn't that something? Apparently he was pretty well developed coming out of college.
Absolutely.
Of course, he's also got the benefit of trying to join a team on the big league level that's struggling, that the offensive side of the game has certainly not been there for. And the guy who is at least was penciled in as the everyday catcher is not considered all that strong of a defensive player.
Brendan Ryan hit a warning track fly ball to Fernando Martinez back in the second inning. Jose Cisnero is warming up. He just arrived today in the minor leagues. Here's strike 1. So it could be the second straight day that someone who just arrived from AAA makes his major league debut. Happened with Brett Oberholzer yesterday. And Bo Porter is warming up Jose Cisnero right now. Up the middle, and there's a scoop by Gonzalez, and Altuve bare hands for a 6-4-3 double play. No bare hand needed by Gonzalez.
There's a play you might see occasionally, and again, Marwin Gonzalez used the word casual a little earlier in the ballgame, but he's starting to feel rather comfy, it would appear. How often do they get a chance to work on that together? You know that it comes up on occasions, but that's well done. Gave Altuve plenty of time to get himself set to make that double play.
Gutierrez takes a curve. There's strike one to him. He's 1 for 2. Changeup missed, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Peacock has thrown 74 pitches. Now it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Well, the Mariners, of course, have been offensively challenged for a few years now, but if they can get some good hitting from Kendrys Morales at DH, Michael Morse, they could be a much more potent offensive club. Saunders, who's out with an injury, is important to them. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. For 4 straight years, the Mariners have finished last in the American League in runs.
And I guarantee that was heavily weighted on the negative side while playing in Seattle.
Peacock's glove, and that's going to go as an infield hit on Gutierrez. Gutierrez is 2 for 3 now. Peacock slowed it down, and neither the third baseman nor the shortstop could get there to prevent the Gutierrez hit.
Seattle's starting to swing it pretty well. This is the breaking ball, and talked about the defensive positioning by Peacock earlier. It's tough to reach back across when you get to falling to that first base side. By the way, Seattle last year by 30 runs was worst while playing at home in the major leagues. The Mets were next worst. But that's a pretty good margin.
Correct that hit. It's ruled an error on Peacock. And now Seager, the batter, 2 for 2 with a 2-run homer. There's ball 1. Peacock is charged with the error, which is the Astros' 11th error of the year. Morales is on deck. That's in for a strike and a 1-1 count. In a game like this, spotting Felix Hernandez, a 5-0 lead in the 4th inning. That is a very difficult order for a comeback.
Barney, you want to hear how tough Seattle's ballpark was, at least on this Mariners ball club last year. They were dead last by 30 runs while playing at home. They were 8th in the major leagues in runs scored while playing on the road.
Stolen base. Gutierrez gets his first of the year.
But Brad Peacock has work to be done while in the stretch and dealing with base runners. Now, that's not a move ahead of first move kind of stolen base, but still a very good jump. A heck of a throw by Castro, and yet you can't get your man. Frustration mounts when you're behind the plate and you just don't get a shot.
1-2 to Seager. This one kicks away from Castro, and now Gutierrez advances to third on a wild pitch. Incidentally, Phil Boudreau talked with the official scorer on that earlier ruling, and it may be changed.
Glove got involved this time for Castro rather than just kind of dropping and holding it. When the glove gets involved, ball can find a lot of bad angles there, and that's exactly what happens. Of course, when the ball stays down, Pretty tough to not have the glove get involved. Castro's been so good with these.
Bouncer shortstop. Marwin comes after it and gets the out. And the Mariners tack on 2. On 3 hits and an error, they leave a man. Slick double play. Seattle leads it 5-0. Thousand tons of computers are disposed of each year. Donate or recycle yours instead of throwing it away. Green is universal. Beautiful full moon out there above. And right here, it's 5-0 as the Astros trail Felix Hernandez and the Seattle Mariners. And he has put up some of those round things on the scoreboard. 3 of them through 3 innings. Jason Castro, who doubled to left field in the first inning with 2 outs, leads it off here. And looks at ball 1 from Felix Hernandez. Felix Hernandez's run support has really been tiny. And yet, he wins. Has the second lowest run support average in the American League this year. 1.88 on average. Philip Umber has the lowest. But he's 92-24 when he's given just 2 runs. Just 2 or less. It's amazing. 2 balls, no strikes.
For the moment, not happy with himself. That's what perfection will do.
Felix has received 1 or less runs of support in 89 of his 242 starts.
Now that's what you get, I guess, pitching in Seattle in recent years. Now, no doubt that ballpark is factored in to help him, but it's also in terms of the wins and losses hurt him. It has not been a good offensive club in Seattle.
You know, that brings up a point as he walks Castro to lead off the inning. All right, the Mariners moved in the fences. They said, hey, our hitters would just crush balls and they'd be caught, and that wasn't good for our offense. So we thought, let's try to make it a little fairer for them by moving in the fences. But it certainly helped their pitchers.
Yeah.
Carter takes ball 1. So now what's it going to do to them?
Well, realistically, it should harm their numbers a bit. But you know what I think of is when you're dealing with free agents, how tough is it to bring a hitter into Seattle in previous years?
Yeah.
Those pitchers probably jumping at the opportunity. Those who don't mind flying the most miles around the major leagues.
And they do. You're right. Yeah. 1-1. They travel more than 50,000 miles in the air during a baseball season.
Yeah, I have found it interesting because people have talked for years about how tough it is or was to hit in Seattle. And yet a guy like Felix Hernandez clearly was benefiting from the ballpark. We'll see how things turn out this year for him and their club.
Ground ball goes foul.
But everything being equal, his numbers were much better than his teammates while pitching in Seattle as well.
Yeah. Well, 99 wins at age 27. For King Felix.
Pretty good stuff.
He broke in at age 19.
Think he was ready?
Oh, yeah. Fly ball behind second base. Gutierrez coming a long way in center field. Gutierrez lays out for it and does not make the catch, but they're going to get an out at second because Castro went back to first. So they get the force out at second. Castro thought the ball was caught, and he went back to first, so Carter's at first, and Castro was forced out.
Chris Carter may not realize at this moment that he doesn't get a base hit. This is a fielder's choice. So close. Imagine being Jason Castro yesterday. A drive to the wall in right center field. He tries to do something big going around the bag at second base and gets doubled up at first. Bang, bang.
Now they're saying that Castro's on first and Carter is out. I'm not sure what this is all about, Ash.
No, I'm not sure either. Did Carter pass Castro on the base path? That could explain things.
Yeah, he must have.
And that point about Castro yesterday, that very tough play where he gets doubled up at first base. Now he thinks, well, I'm not going to get doubled up again. This is the play from yesterday. Ball driven like crazy by Laird. And a great play in center field. Now you got to get back. And he comes very close to getting back. Just doubled up, bang, bang. And so today comes along with Jason Castro. And you have to be thinking, well, I don't want to get doubled up again on a little fly ball. A tough play in center field. But I have a feeling if I had to guess right here, and I was looking elsewhere on the field, that Carter may have gone on by the base runner.
Well, Gutierrez is walking in slowly. He's had leg problems, and he laid out for that one. So first base umpire Chris Guccione and the others are huddling up. The crew chief is Tom Hallion, who's at second, trying to decide how to call this. But evidently they have ruled, at least initially, that Carter passed Castro, so Carter's out.
You know, quite honestly, I don't know how a hitter, under the scenario that took place, doesn't pass the guy coming back into the bag.
Right.
You're kind of stuck. What do? Run to the bag and run by it down the right field line, or just stand on the bag? Castro trying to read it. Is it going to be caught? It looks like it goes in the glove, so he took a good look. You can't fault Jason Castro, but he comes back, and now Chris Carter is coming back to the bag. Is that deemed to have gone on by? I would say no, because to me he's just kind of down the line as he comes back.
Well, Chris Guccione there, the first base umpire, was putting his fist in the air for out at first base.
Well, was he? But what we can't see on that play is the throw coming back into second base and the Mariners standing on the bag there, which would constitute a force play. So I'm not sure. Did Guccione see force play, or did he see? The ball drops. So this is just like a ground ball in effect. The throw comes back in, and there's your force play.
Meanwhile, with the injury to Gutierrez, he has left the game. And Andy Chavez will move to center field with Jason Bay checking into left field. There's Bay in left. Chavez to center. Gutierrez coming out of the game. It wouldn't be too surprising to see Gutierrez go on the disabled list because he's been in and out of the lineup with those problems with his legs. And now they're getting the outfielders set, but at first base, it's Castro. Carter was declared out for passing him, apparently.
Yeah. I'd like to see him, and I don't know if we've got a shot at Carter because he really wasn't the focus of the play.
No.
But as he went down the line, did he actually circle as if to head towards second base?
Yeah, he went past the bag, and then it looked like he started towards second.
Well, if he did that, and didn't get back before Castro got to the bag, then he passes the runner.
That's the way it looked. Now Carlos Pena is the batter. He hit a fly ball to left earlier. And he looks at ball one.
But again, you can't fault Castro, and I'm not convinced that you can actually fault Carter on this play.
Not really. But it looked as if Carter did turn towards second base. And then he came back to first, and Castro was already at first.
Yeah, well, Carter could have made a big turn at first, provided he never got past the runner. Yeah, it's just a tough read one way or the other. And I'm not so sure the umpires getting together weren't standing there looking at each other saying, who's got the coin?
Right. 2-0 to Pena. And you're right about Castro. That's a difficult read for him. The outfielder's laying out. The ball hits his glove. At that point, Jason has to do something. He's going to be out at second or out trying to get back to first. If he doesn't pick a direction, you can't just stay halfway between first and second and wait to see him pick up the ball. 3 balls, no strikes.
No man's land there for a couple of base runners.
And Carter, so he loses a hit.
Yep.
And then he gets kicked off first base.
Well, now wait a minute. Well, this is a great. I've never seen this happen. They talk about you see something new in this game all the time. Had they ruled the out at second base on the fielder's choice, there's no hit.
Right.
But if they're ruling the out at first base for passing the runner, is there a base hit?
Yeah,
and
there is a base hit.
There is.
You're right. They have awarded him a hit, so he didn't lose a hit.
Yep.
Interesting. Ground ball goes foul. So who's faster, Carter or Castro?
Well, for the Astros, I imagine this might be a bit of a wash, but maybe I would probably put my money on Castro. I don't know. What do you think?
Not sure.
That's an intriguing ruling. It makes you wonder as a hitter if you're dying to get a base hit, and Carter probably is. Are you best served by passing the base runner?
Guy, yeah. Well, that was hit number 3 for the Astros. Popped up. Smoke's coming over to foul territory. 2 out. And that'll be Brandon Laird. Baseball can be really crazy with rules, can it?
Absolutely. And you know there's no way that Chris Carter thought that out and thought, well, you know what, maybe I can sneak a base hit right here by doing this. But all in all, sometimes you're looking for slump busters any way you can find them, and let's hope that gets it done for Chris Carter.
You got a knock. Brandon Laird struck out in the second inning. Well, if you want to look at it positively, there's strike one. He got a hit, and he knocked Gutierrez out of the game.
That's well done. That's well played with the Cards.
It's a tough one for Gutierrez, who's been nursing those leg injuries now for a while, and it sounds as if Andy Chavez is going to be playing quite a bit of center field.
You know, by the way, we were talking about Felix Hernandez and how he might have benefited in recent years pitching in Seattle versus on the road. Not a big difference between his ERA in both cases over the last 3 years.
Interesting. It's a strike on a swing, and it's 0-2.
0.2 of a run. An improvement while pitching at home. Not as much as I might have expected.
Definitely not. Of course, maybe a more extreme fly ball pitcher would benefit more from pitching in Seattle. In the dirt for ball 1.
I guess when you strike out a bunch, you can strike him out in the sandlot.
Good point. Yeah, he has been a phenomenal strikeout pitcher. But going back to the Jose Lima days, he probably benefited more from the Astrodome than any other pitcher who pitched it.
He may have, yeah. Of course, that first year in this ballpark, it didn't work out well for Jose.
Tap foul, 1-2.
In fact, it appeared at the time that this was going to be a ballpark that was going to create just horrible numbers for pitchers. It hasn't worked out at all that way.
We were talking about that before the game with our Seattle brethren in the broadcast booth, because they haven't been here much. They were asking about the ballpark. That area of it right there. Center field, Towles Hill, the roof, other things about it. Struck out Laird to end the 4th inning for Houston. And that strikeout number 6. It's no runs, a hit, and a man left. And through 4, it's 5-0 Seattle. Baseball and family fun. Each Friday night game is followed by a spectacular fireworks show presented by Marathon Oil. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets today. Brad Peacock back out for inning number 5 with the Astros trailing at 5-0 here in downtown Houston. Morales, Morse, and Smoke due to bat in the Mariner 5th inning. Mariners have a pair of 2-run homers. Kyle Seager hit one in the 3rd. Jesus Montero added another one in the 4th after their 1st inning run. And now Morales up for the 3rd time. He walked in that 1st inning and then hit a fly ball to left. Tomorrow night, the Mariners starter will be 32-year-old right-hander Hisashi Iwakuma. That'll be his 21st career major league start. He and tonight's starter Felix Hernandez definitely a strong 1-2 punch for this Seattle team. That's ball 1 to Morales.
The Astros saw the other guys in Seattle and had a feast offensively.
Yeah, there could be potentially a pretty big drop off. Too early to say that, really. 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, one time through is it's not like you get huge answers that way. You may not.
Ball to right. That pushes Ankiel back all the way to the wall, and that one will go out. Home run, Kendrys Morales, number 2 for him. 3rd long ball for the Mariners tonight. 6-0 Seattle.
And already the 6th long ball allowed on the brief season now for Brad Peacock.
And the Astros have surrendered now 28 home runs this year. Seattle has given up the most in the American League, 29.
Looked like maybe the changeup fading right back into the heart of the plate, and was good hitting, staying back on it. It's a rather short right field porch. Once you hit it like that, you get a pretty good idea.
Strike for Peacock to Michael Morse, who's 0 for 2. Well, the Mariners are in a breakout game after scoring 3 runs in 3 games in the other Texas Major League city. 1 ball, 1 strike. Texas Rangers pitching stifled them over the weekend. Texas currently a half game in front of Oakland now. The Rangers have climbed atop the AL West with a 12-6 record. Oakland's 12-7, a half game back. All the other clubs under 500. It's 2 balls and a strike. Seager hit a 395-footer. Montero 433. Morales 383. If you're into home run distances of Mariners long balls. Altuve gets in front of it and retires Morris.
It is good footwork getting in front by Altuve. Ball hit sharply. Yeah, if you're talking about those home runs, Brownie, Jesus Montero is the one that impresses me. That was the big fly.
It really was. Roquel's on the phone to the bullpen. Cisnero was warming up earlier. There's a right-hander throwing now. And it is Cisnero again. Smoke is 1 for 2, an RBI single off Peña's glove in the first inning. Shift is on for him. He smacks the line drive, headed for the right field corner. And Keel over to dig it out into second base. Here's Smoke with another extra base hit for the Mariners. That's his second double of the year. Now 3 homers and 2 doubles for a total of 5 extra base knocks for the Mariners.
It was Smoke who benefited on that ground ball up the right side that got by Peña. Not an easy play, his first at bat. But sometimes any kind of hit will get you going, and that could be the case with Justin Smoke, and Seattle couldn't be happier. This is a guy they've counted on to do big things with the bat. Big man, lots of power.
Now Bo Porter's coming out. Peacock has thrown 90 pitches, 54 strikes. And this is just a strategy session, it appears, for the infielders.
I think sometimes you just have to find a way to get 5 innings out of your starter. Your bullpen's getting beat up. I don't know if Bo feels he's in that corner right now, but he may well.
It might be one of those, pep talk kind of thing. No, he's going to go to the bullpen.
He's decided that pep talk would take place on the mound.
So it'll be the major league debut of Jose Cisnero when we come back. For the score 6-0 Seattle. Astros starting pitchers as we take a look at those starters. 4 1/3 innings and 6 runs for Peacock.
Been a rough ride of late. Of course, you can see the 3 outings that starters failed to get out of the first inning, matching a mark by the Angels back in 1979. Nolan Ryan, Frank Tanana twice. Pretty amazing stuff. But it's awfully tough on your bullpen when you see 3 starters unable to get out of the first inning and the other starters not getting deep in the ballgame. And that bullpen just getting beat up.
So it's a major league debut for the 24-year-old right-hander Jose Cisnero from San Cristobal in the Dominican Republic. Last year he divided the season between AA Corpus Christi and AAA Oklahoma City. this season at Oklahoma City in 3 games, 1 as a starter. He was 1-1 with a 9.35 ERA. He's ranked as the Astros' number 15 prospect by Baseball America. And last year was a good strikeout year for him at Corpus with 9.61 strikeouts per 9 innings. He was 9-6 there with a 340 earned run average. He was 4-1 at Oklahoma City last year with a 454.
Well, if one of these guys getting the call up can come in and have a nice performance, he might find a way to stay for a while.
Yes, he might. It's ball 1 to Dustin Ackley. He doubled and rode home on the 2-run Montero long ball. He's 1 for 2. Cisnero last pitched 4 days ago against Round Rock, and he worked 3 innings, giving up 2 runs, 1 of them earned. And he was to have started tonight for Oklahoma City. That's one reason the Astros selected him for this game. Strike, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Cisnero signed with the Astros in 07 as a free agent. And had a 33-29 minor league credential coming into this season with a 4.23 minor league ERA. Broken bat roller out to shortstop, charged by Marwin Gonzalez, and the throw safe at first.
Can't do more as a shortstop. Marwin on the dead sprint, throws on the run. Dustin Ackley showing some of the tools, the speed here that led him to be that number 2 pick of the draft that Brownie mentioned back a few years ago, right behind Steven Strasburg. Yeah, and you just can't do it better than that. Did they get him?
Close call there for Chris Guccione.
Bang, bang. Let's take the real good look. I think they got him, and that's what I thought I saw to begin with. Although, when it's that close, you just can't be certain.
Now runners at first and third for Montero. He's 1 for 2, a long 2-run homer. That's strike 1. Yeah, Marwin, when he came in, he made that throw, and his momentum continued to bring him past the mound, and then he just sort of put both feet out and came to a grinding halt, as if, what? He was what at first base? That's tough. You know, you make a play like that, you'd love to get the out ball, especially when you thought you had it.
No doubt, frustrating moments. And a lot of times you'll make a heck of a play and think, well, you know, you should have called him out just because it was such a great play. You see what I did over here?
Can't you give a reward for that effort? Fly ball to right field. Runner goes back to third to tag. Ankiel with the catch. Ankiel with the throw into the infield. And the run scores to make it 7-0 on a Montero sac fly, giving him 3 runs batted in. And that's more than he had for the season coming into this game. Smoke scoring. Close the book on Peacock. 3rd innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Yeah, it really is a breakout night for Seattle. You feel like the Astros have had their struggles with the bats. Look a little closer. They're about mid-pack in the major leagues. Offensively, when you look at most of the numbers, Seattle finds themselves leading into tonight right at or near the bottom.
Andy Chavez is 1 for 2, now playing center field. Move there from left field. Ball 1 to Chavez. Cisnero probably will stay in this game for a while if he's effective. That's why he was brought up as a fresh arm. Brett Oberholzer headed back to Oklahoma City on the road in Albuquerque after working 2 innings yesterday in his major league debut. 1 ball, 1 strike, and then Paul Clemens, of course, earlier this season made his major league debut in long relief. The Astros have really had a lot of moves in their bullpen. Cisnero is the 10th different reliever to work for the Astros. Fly ball near the left field line. Fernando Martinez over. And it's 2-run scoring on 3 hits and a man left in the top of the 5th inning. The Mariners have the lead 7-0. Houston, if your TV provider does not yet carry CSN, call and tell them you want your CSN. To get the facts and learn how you can help, go to iwantcsnhouston.com. We are working diligently to get CSN Houston on all TV providers. There's the crowd here on a Monday night, and they've watched the Mariners come in from Arlington, Texas, where they lost all 3, and open up a 7-0 lead here, going to the bottom of the 5th inning. Justin Maxwell batting against Felix Hernandez, who falls behind 1-0. Hernandez has struck out 6 in the first 4. He's allowed 3 hits and he's walked 1. Foul ball makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count. In Boston tonight, it's 9-6. The Red Sox lead the Athletics after 8. Apple hit his 4th home run. Will Middlebrooks, number 5. And the Astros will be heading for Boston after the game here Wednesday afternoon. Upstairs, they appeal a swing, and it was not a swing. Chris Guccione with a call. 2 balls and a strike. So Ash and Blummer will be together on the road trip. 4 in Boston, 3 in Yankee Stadium.
And you're heading to the Mediterranean? Is that
no?
Is that right?
I'll be right here. Tap foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Watching you guys.
Sunning and
no. What are those warm lights in the studio for the pregame show?
You are a grinder.
Those will be earlier starts because you're on Eastern time, Ash.
You are absolutely a grinder, and thanks for reminding me.
Are you going to pack some warm clothes?
Yeah, I'm going to do a little better than the last road trip. You were so well prepared. I was like a rookie on the West Coast.
3-2. Well, you haven't spent much time on the West Coast in your life.
No, I guess not. Thanks for the help out there.
Line shot left center field. That'll shoot through. And one hop the wall and then stay right down there by the base of the wall. J-Max into second with a double. Number 5 of the year for Justin Maxwell.
There you go. Get the bats going a bit.
That's hit number 4. Well hit ball.
Gets a fastball. Fastball that's elevated a bit and finds a lot of play. You find a lot of well hit balls in the major leagues will come on fastballs in fastball counts, and they find a lot of the plate. It kind of simulates batting practice at times. Of course, can't really say that when Felix Hernandez is on the hill.
Well, Maxwell had a beautiful swing on that, as you can see on that replay. Rick Ankiel is next, looking at strike one. He popped a short in the third inning. J-Max really got everything into that swing. He's one of those maximum effort guys. Blue Jays and Orioles 1-1, bottom of the ninth in Baltimore. Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes.
Hank right there. Maybe try to go the other way as he does yesterday with this gorgeous piece of hitting. Line shot, and then that got him going as he hung out the shot to right center field, finding the gap. He was on a stretch that wasn't going so well in terms of strikeouts, 23 and 33 at bats at one point.
In tight. 1-2. Cubs and the Reds are tied 2-2. They're in the bottom of the ninth in Cincinnati. David DeJesus hit his 3rd homer for Chicago, and Jay Bruce #1 for Cincinnati. Anke is down on strikes. That's number 7 for Felix Hernandez.
What a pitch that changeup is. 90 miles an hour. That's a changeup. Just falling to earth.
He really sells it. His perfect game was the first in Mariners history. Last August 15th, he beat Tampa Bay 1-0. Struck out 12 to 113 pitches.
I remember playing with Nolan Ryan, and he'd throw some changeups right around that same velocity, and guys on the bench would just, other pitchers would be saying, if I could only get my fastball up to that range.
Yeah, and that was a pitch he didn't really master until he had been here for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Late in his career and became a big part of the arsenal.
Well, it really was. I think if you had his fastball and a changeup like he developed, you could survive with those 2 pitches.
I remember hearing a big-time hitter, Brownie, talk about when he started seeing the changeup from Nolan. He said, you know what, it's not fair anymore. Now with this changeup, there is just no chance between Heater and the change.
And ball to the right side for Ackley. Ackley over to Smoke to get Marwin Gonzalez. Maxwell to third, 2 outs. So did you tell that guy, well, okay, we'll stay away from the change for you if it's not fair? We want to be fair.
Just let me know what you want. Put it on a platter for you.
Jose Altuve single to right field in the third after striking out. White Sox lead the Indians 2-1. They played 6 in Chicago at U.S. Cellular. And they're getting ready to play in Anaheim. Rangers and the Angels. Action. Did you see that quote from Albert Pujols on his foot problem?
No, I did not.
He said, it's killing me. Plantar fasciitis.
Well, it's a really painful injury. I can vouch for that. And he looked like a guy that was hurting when the club was out west.
Near the right field line. It's caught by Morse. It's no runs, 1 hit. 1 man left after 5, 7-0 Seattle. Visit Progressive.com today. And the Chipotle Chicken Combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today with fries and a drink for just $4.99 plus tax. Wow, sure are moving by quickly. We're moving to the 6th inning now, and it's Jose Cisnero versus Brendan Ryan. Ryan is 0 for 2. Jose Cisnero is a product of the Astros Dominican Academy. He was signed as an 18-year-old amateur free agent in December of 07. Ground ball, a two-hopper, backhanded, Laird, across. Carlos Pena, 1 out. And just about every team has academies in the Dominican.
I was going to say the early returns on Laird at third base appear to be pretty good.
They do.
Make the routine plays and got challenged a little bit early on in the ball game.
Jason Bay is the batter. He took over for Franklin Gutierrez, who left with an injury.
Brownie, there just continue to be so many outstanding players that come out of the Dominican Republic.
Very fertile ground for developing major league players. Cesar Cedeno among them for the Astros down through the years. There have been many. And when a player signs in a place like the Dominican, he can play there at the academy for years. Sometimes it takes years before the organization deems him to be ready to bring to the United States. Each organization has a certain number of visas allowed to bring players into this country, and they're used very carefully. A shot in the hole. There's a diving stop. Laird gets up and throws to Pena.
How about that?
Very fine play by Brandon Laird.
Are you wondering if I can play third base? That's nice. Got up quickly. Put it right on the money. Good stuff. Marwin was going to try to get in position to make the play. I'm not sure he could have made a throw to make this happen. But Brandon Laird says we've got 2 third basemen here on this club that can play it defensively.
Yes. Strike 2, Kyle Seager, who has a single and a 2-run homer. Well, that's a much easier play for the third baseman.
Yeah, nearly and maybe impossible for a shortstop to come up with that play and ultimately get a guy that runs well.
Somebody just said to Matt Dominguez, hey, Wally Pipp, how you feeling tonight?
That's right. You hear it all the time.
Laird playing well at third.
Feeling any better, kid? Yeah, there's the smiles. Ready to play tomorrow?
Dave Tremble, you know he's hitting him with that Wally Pipp thing right now.
I bet that stuff's starting to feel better right about now.
1 and 2. Well, Wally Pipp was in the lineup at first base until Lou Gehrig came along. And then that was it for Wally.
That just sounds silly.
Well, you know, Phil Garner told Billy Doran that. Just play every day. Don't give them any reason not to play you. And he said, yeah, I went out there when I wasn't feeling that great, but Gar gave me that message, and I understood it.
What a gamer Doran was.
Fly ball to right field. Ankiel waiting. In the 6th, it goes 1-2-3. Thanks to Laird's magnificent play, 7-0 Seattle.
MLB.tv is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.tv Premium. Visit MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere.
Folks enjoying their night at the ballpark. They would like to enjoy it a little bit more with some Astros runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 7-0 Seattle. And there is strike one to Fernando Martinez, who's 0 for 2. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays won their 4th in a row. They knocked off the Yankees in St. Petersburg. Foul ball makes it no balls, 2 strikes. Castro and Carter to follow Martinez to the plate. Final score 5-1 Tampa Bay with Matt Moore winning it.
JD Martinez just joined the club yesterday, and first at bat, first pitch, launches one to left field, didn't get out by much, but who cares? Nothing but party time at that moment.
Fernando Mania.
Did that start?
Yeah, it started. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Fernando.
I remember some days in LA when Fernando Mania was kind of the rage.
Ooh. Wasn't decent. There's a strikeout, and that's number 8.
I was talking about Fernando Valenzuela, and he was the real deal.
What was his first year? 1981?
Somewhere in there. 80, 81.
Okay. 79. Well, he was just a phenomenon. You know, he could do all those things. He could hit, he could field.
Yeah, he didn't look like he should be able to have done all those things, but just a special athlete. Could look to the sky and deliver a pitch a 1/4 inch from where he wanted every time. That's what it felt like.
It really did.
Those were the days when outside corners kind of expanded a little bit, and he could paint the first pitch on the black and the next one an inch off of there and the next one 2 inches off, and you'd go back to the dugout and honestly say to your teammates or yourself or whoever you felt was going to listen to you whine that you never got a pitch to hit the whole at bat.
And he had that screwball.
Could spot it.
So you went up there right-handed and you thought, okay, I got this ball coming into me. But it wasn't.
I never really felt much that way right-handed, but you can go ahead and tell the story that way. Actually, as it turns out, statistically, he was my toughest pitcher of all time, and I think for good reasons.
Well, that screwball is a pitch seldom seen these days. Line fair into the right field corner, kicks out, and Morse comes over, but that'll give Castro time to get into second base with his second double of the night. 2 doubles and a walk for Castro in this game.
That bat of Jason Castro appears to be coming to life.
Yeah.
And when you watch him day in, day out, especially over the course of the spring, and again, you kind of have to modify what you do see in the spring, but boy, did he look good. Shoot it down the line. Morse is not the most nimble of right fielders, and so you take your shot.
Smoke really stayed up in the air for a long time.
Yeah, he got up.
Carter is 1 for 2.
Now, if Smoke could just stand on his own 2 feet when called upon to do so, looks like a guy who could play in the NBA to me.
Well, I was going to say those Rockets players had to be pretty impressive with that hang time.
Yep.
It's 1-1 to Carter. Carter, that pop fly off the glove of Gutierrez in shallow left center, was credited with a hit because he passed Castro, who was going back to first base, thinking that ball had been caught.
Now, to all NBA fans and players who are offended, that goes back to a joke a little earlier in the game.
Castro started and then he jammed on the brakes and went back. 2 balls and a strike.
Nothing but the utmost respect.
Is Kobe tweeting us tonight?
I haven't caught one of his tweets, but his head coach will make sure and let us know if he does tweet this direction.
Yeah, somebody said, well, that should be kept in-house. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
There's that slider down and away. Breaking ball, something off speed. And that's the area we pointed out where Chris Carter, as well as just about everybody who plays this game, is having a tough time. But find a way to lay off when you don't have to swing at it.
That's strike 3.
Yeah, I think Chris Carter is going to impart the message that that's getting a little silly when it's a call to strike maybe that far off. Catcher's off the edge. That ball appears to be off the edge. When you're going bad, this is a part of the equation. Are you kidding me?
9 strikeouts for Felix Hernandez. Has a career ERA for the month of April of 2.69. Carlos Pena is 0 for 2. Fly ball to left. A foul out to first. That's ball 1 to him. Now Felix, along with tomorrow night's starter for Seattle, Hisashi Iwakuma, combined are 3-2 with a 1.93 ERA, and both rank among American League starters in nearly every pitching category right now. So the Astros are facing possibly the best 1-2 punch going right now in the first 2 games of this series.
And yet the Mariners are 7-13.
Yeah, crazy. One ball, 1 strike. We were talking about that last week on the road trip, Ash, that so much of it in baseball depends on when you catch a team. In other words, when the Astros would play a given team. And they played the Mariners in Seattle without these top 2 starters facing them.
Makes a big difference. There's just no question. Of course, you can sometimes face the top guys, but that team may not be swinging the bats well at all.
True.
And pound away on them and beat them 1-0.
2-1 count. Let's see. Fernando Valenzuela first came to the big leagues in 1980 at age 19. He was 2-0 that year for 10 games. The next year, 13-7.
Became a phenomenon. That's all you can say.
Oh. Fans just flock to see him. Off the plate, it goes out to Ackley at second. Ackley tossing underhand to Smoke for the out to end the 6th inning with no runs, a hit, and a man left. And after 6, it's 7-0 Seattle.
Nothing, and it's time for our progressive fan of the game. I'm way up here in the suite level today, and I've got Sean next to me, who broke his arm playing select football. Tough guy here, but Sean, who's your favorite baseball player here tonight?
My favorite baseball player is Josue Alvarez.
Altuve.
Yeah, Altuve.
Altuve. All right, here's your bag. Have a good time. I made Sean nervous, I think. He was getting a little nervous before that. Guys, I do want to mention fans know some of these guys, and there's a lot of new faces, as they've been talking about them earlier, especially these relievers that are coming up and down. Bo Porter told media before the game that it's necessary for the organization right now to have these guys kind of go through this revolving door. He also did not want to use the word tryout, stayed away from the word tryout, but he did say he wanted to see guys establish themselves when they're given these opportunities.
Well, Jose Cisnero gets his opportunity tonight. And for Seattle, Carter Craps is warming up in the bullpen. Hernandez has gone 6 innings, around 90 some odd pitches. Kendrys Morales leads it off here in the 7th inning. He has a homer in 3 trips. There's strike 1 to him. Brad Peacock went 4 1/3. He allowed 9 hits, 7 runs. And then Cisnero came in, gave up an infield hit to Ackley. Since then has retired 5 in a row. Fouled away, and it's no balls, 2 strikes.
Always nice to be able to come out and see that favorite player, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Cisnero is doing a nice job, by the way. Just shutting things down.
Well, the word is going to get back to the Oklahoma City Redhawks. Hey, guys, when they call you up, be ready to go in.
Yeah. That may be the way the guys get notified. Hey, say what? I need to talk to you a moment. You're pitching in Houston tomorrow.
Yeah, when they list the probables for the Oklahoma City series, the guys are going to be asking, now, is that for the Redhawks or the Astros?
Well, you know what? It's maybe not exactly the way it had been drawn up, but what a golden opportunity for these guys.
Fastball with some pop at 93.
Take that. High heat, and it's exactly what they tried to get a little earlier in that count to strike out Morales. High heater has struck out many a major league hitter.
Now, wouldn't you think Jose Cisnero has the right to ask for the ball from that, his first major league strikeout?
You know, I've never seen a pitcher do that, but it's a great point.
It went over.
Hitter dribbles one down the third base line and gets an infield single, and he gets to take the ball.
Well, it just went over to the dugout.
Good.
We missed it. Michael Morse with a grounder, knocked down Cisnero. 2 outs. Well, why not? The hitter gets one from his first hit.
What about for your first major league assist?
Absolutely. Pull that ball out of play. Justin Smoke, he's 2 for 3 RBI. As you see, Carter Caps. Now let's say, did you have any teammates who would get the ball from their first everything in the major leagues? Well, I got 12 different balls.
I don't ever recall that.
First time I was picked off, I got the ball for that.
You know, it's the big leagues, and yes, guys get their first hit and apparently their first strikeout and all that sort of thing. But if you start to milk it just a little too much, you're going to hear from those teammates. That is for certain.
It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, what about if you send something over to the other team
to get signed?
Yeah.
Hey man, you're my favorite ball player growing up. Because that guy gets offended because he thinks you're calling him old.
Right.
I've heard that. You know what? It plays best when it comes from a guy who is an obvious super talent. If it's a borderline guy, it's like, hey, come on, Rook. Show some cool here a little bit.
A 1-shot foul. What if Jose Cisnero came up several years ago when Ken Griffey Jr. was playing, and he struck him out for his first major league strikeout? Would it be politically correct to send that ball over to the clubhouse of Griffey's team and ask him to sign it?
I think I've heard of that scenario. I can't say that I recall anything specific, but yeah, I think that would actually be kind of cool.
Well, in a way, it would be a compliment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
I saw when Dennis Eckersley first came to the big leagues, and it was just hilarious to his teammates, but he would tell some big stars to, after he struck them out, to go sit down. And I think that was his mantelpiece. Yeah, I told so-and-so to go sit down. It was just hilarious. Of course, guys on other teams may not have the same remembrance of the stories.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite so hilarious.
2-out walk to Smoke. Second walk of the game by Astros pitching. The paid attendance is 23,201. Average for the season coming into this game tonight was 21,417 here at Minute Maid Park. This is home game number 10 of the year. Dustin Ackley is 2 for 3, a double and an infield hit. Strike one to him from Cisnero. Wind has picked up. It's blowing out to left. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's nothing like the pop of that mitt.
It's got a good sounding heater.
Yeah. A little bit more breeze now than there was earlier tonight.
Not bad to have a good sounding heater when you've got that wind blowing out.
Foul away. Now, did you have a mitt that sounded louder than a different mitt? You know, when the pitcher, is that a reinforcing thing for him to hear that pop and think, well, I'm really throwing hard tonight?
Absolutely, especially when you have Nolan Ryan on your staff. And I had a tendency of taking this real soft thing out there with Nolan, and he would get so frustrated at me. Let's go. Get rid of the pillow, will you?
Well, you had to protect your thumb somehow.
Find a way to hang on to that stuff.
That's a looping fly ball left center field, in for a hit. And Fernando Martinez gets it back in on the single by Ackley. Ackley's 3rd straight hit in this game.
So who was that idolized broadcaster that you ran into when you first came to the big leagues?
Jack Buck.
Oh, yeah. Just a little fight off by a guy who's starting to get hot now with 3 hits on the night.
Yeah.
Numbers were not there prior to tonight.
No, they were not.
Jack Buck, one of the legends. Of course, his son Joe Buck has done pretty well for himself.
Oh, yeah. He's terrific also. Now, Jesus Montero, he ripped a long home run last time, or in the second time up in the 4th inning. Then he hit a sac fly, so it's a 3 RBI game for him. Well, would your hand get swollen after you caught Nolan Ryan and a couple other hard throwers like J.R. Richard?
My hand was so beat up and calloused and accustomed to the whole routine that no is the answer. Now, with JR, you mentioned that name. He would throw that hard sinker, and I've talked about for a catcher, and I honestly believe you could find this to be the truth with 100% of catchers you speak to. The pitch down to your glove side on the left side of a catcher is the one that will beat you up. You turn your hand over and you expose your hand. JR would do that to you. He had that hard sinker, and it was a rough go with him at times. He beat you up.
So would you avoid calling the sinker because your hand was taking a beating?
You know, it's not that you called a sinker with him. It's just that he would two-seam it and he'd get that action going. And you know, on the flip side with Nolan, he'd love to ride that 4-seamer, and it would ride through there. And if he got some sinking action, that would just make him a little on the upset side.
Okay.
And so, had I ever gone out and said, "Hey, you got a good sinker tonight," that would have been angry moment on top of everything.
Marwin flipping to Altuve for the forced play on Ackley. No runs, a hit, 2 men left. 7th inning stretch time. 7-0 Mariners. It is 7-0. The Mariners lead it. Justin Verlander, Miguel Cabrera, and the reigning AL champion Detroit Tigers come to Minute Maid Park Thursday, May 2nd through Sunday, May 5th. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets now. Tigers series coming up May 2nd through the 5th. Felix Hernandez checks out after 6 innings. Carter Capps comes out of the bullpen. Another big strikeout game for Felix. In 6 innings, he struck out 9. And he walked 1. Allowing the Astros just 5 hits tonight and no runs.
Carter Capps' numbers are not ideal right now. More hits than innings. A whip that is pushing toward the 2 base runners per inning. Although strikeouts are high and walks low, so I guess you can divide those stats up any way you want.
Well, Capps pitched when the Astros were in Seattle. He pitched twice in that 3-game series. In the Seattle 3-0 win April 8th, he pitched well, got a hold with an inning and a third, and did not give up any runs. But then 2 days later, he gave up 3 runs in 1 2/3 innings. He allowed a couple of homers. Chris Carter and Marwin Gonzalez took him deep. Brandon Laird, who has struck out both times tonight, will lead it off here in the 7th inning. Now, King Felix has qualified for win number 100 of his career. If he wins this game, he will be 178. Age 27. There's ball 1.
Shutout style, but I wonder about a guy like him. Will he be overly happy to remember number 100 as a 6-inning outing?
That's a fly ball left center field. Jason Bay over. 1 down. Well, Felix, with his shortest outing being 6 1/3 at Chicago against the White Sox April 6th, has gone at least 6 in all 5 of his starts this year. And he's racked up the innings down through the years. So evidently Eric Wedge feels that's enough. Let's protect his arm a little bit tonight. Get him out of there a little bit earlier than we need to. And maybe he'll be just a little bit better for his next start. Maxwell is 1 for 2. Strike 1 for Carter Capps. And that one went up on the board at 96 miles per hour. Capps is 6'5". He's from Kinston, North Carolina. Went to a Division II school, Mount Olive College. 1-1. And Capps last year pitched 18 times for Seattle. He was also at Jackson and 1 game at Tacoma. He had 19 saves at AA Jackson with an ERA of 1.26 there and a lot of strikeouts there. That's 96 near the knees, and it's 1-2. Pretty impressive stuff when he locates it like that.
Clubs love to have these big arm guys in the bullpen. Not that easy to come by, not those that can find the strike zone.
Strikeout number 10 for Seattle pitching.
Yeah, you can see it right there. 97 tells you that he throws very hard. He also gets down under it a little bit, and the ball seems to ride upward at the bats. It's in that category of funky as a delivery, and then you shoot 97 out of that. Awfully tough.
Rick Ankiel is 0 for 2. He popped too short and he struck out. He cracks one toward left field, and that goes toward the wall. Bay looking up. That one shoots into the seats for an opposite field souffle for Rick Ankiel. Home run number 5. He was talking around the batting cage. He said, "Yeah, I've been a pull hitter, but I don't mind a few souffles every now and then over there." And he pointed to the Landry's Crawford boxes. And he picked up a souffle for home run number 5.
I'm guessing a lot of guys would agree with that assessment. Look at this. We saw him hang out a shot yesterday the other way, and now take it beyond that with this home run swing. Well, if you can learn that hack with the Crawford boxes looming here in Houston, that can go a long ways.
Yes, it can. He skimmed it in there, and it's 7-1 now. And Marwin Gonzalez with a foul ball. 0-1 on him. So Ankiel now with 5 homers, has 11 runs batted in. And Rick takes over the club lead in runs batted in. And also he is taking over the club lead in homers with this one. Marwin fouls that one off the mask of Montero.
I think Marwin Gonzalez had back-to-back on his mind when he took that swing. Montero has other things on his mind. Yeah, there you go. There's that, and I don't know what you call it, the joint on the jaw. When you get the foul tip that doesn't center up on the mask and throws your jaw one direction, that's the one that always bothered me. You could take any foul tip, Nolan Ryan, J.R. Richard on the hill, didn't bother me in the least until it hit the side of the mask and threw the jaw to one side.
See the painted nails so the pitcher can see which fingers he's putting down.
Yeah, the spread may be the best he's ever seen tonight after the game, but it's going to be a little tough to deal with.
Or maybe they'll have a liquid spread tonight. Strike one to Gonzalez.
Blender's ready.
Ooh, nice ball there. Makes it no balls, 2 strikes.
The 8.
Cubs and the Reds are going to the 11th, tied at 2. One ball, 2 strikes to Marwin Gonzalez. White Sox are batting in the bottom of the 8th, trailing the Indians. The Indians just came up with 2 in the top of the 8th, and they have Vinny Pestano in there with a 3-2 lead. Indians are 7-10. The White Sox are 7-11. It's 2-2. Oliver Perez is warming up, the lefty for Seattle. Rangers have scored single runs in the first and second at Anaheim against the Angels with Derek Holland on the mound. They lead it 2-0. Brewers got 5 in the first at San Diego. And they lead 5-0 after 1. Betancourt hit his 3rd. Braun his 6th. Line shot into the seats. Dave Clark had to move out of there. Vicious.
Apparently everybody's all right, and thank goodness.
He's all right.
It's danger time, and always be careful when you're down below at the ballpark. That line drive, even with a glove, is not one you want to play around with.
Yeah. Marlon looks at one in the dirt. 3-2. Yeah, the problem is if you're in the 3rd row and someone in the 2nd row stands up and moves out of the way at the last second.
Yep.
Ooh.
That's true in the dugouts too, and it used to always be the case. The guy that would get hit was the guy that was back behind everybody who got up and eventually got out of the way.
Lined up the right field line. That's foul. Marwin is peppering these 98-mile-per-hour fastballs, pulling them. Got some bat speed going tonight.
Don't try to tell me this bat isn't quick.
Ooh.
Well, we saw how quick it was in Seattle as he started launching some home runs to right field.
Grounder up the middle, but that's where Ryan is. A 2-out home run by Rick Ankiel gets the Astros on the board. 7-1 Seattle through 7. Don't squeeze him. 7-1 Mariners, top of the 8th inning, a moment away. Spend your Cinco de Mayo at Minute Maid Park. First pitch against the Tigers is at 3:10, and 10,000 fans will receive a Los Astros t-shirt, courtesy of Goya. Come out early for the Cinco de Mayo Street Fest from 12 to 3 p.m. Presented by Budweiser. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS to get your tickets now. Look up at the crop on the train. Meanwhile, Alan Ashby, on April 22nd, 1986, homers off Dwayne Ward in the ninth to give the Astros a 3-2 win over the Braves. Do you remember that?
The only reason yes, actually I do. But it kind of rubs in a little bit. Dwayne Ward was a big member of the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen during their heydays. And
Chavez with a fly ball. Now we go back out of play.
And in recent years, they've had they bring in a lot of the players, and so he would come up to the booth and speak with us and remind me of that all the time.
Oh,
that really wasn't a bad thing.
So early in the '86 season, April 22nd, you hit that game-winning home run, and you guys were very lightly regarded at that time of the year, right?
Guy, I believe that's the case. What year did you say again?
'86.
Oh yeah. I don't think anybody considered the Astros that year. Great second half for the club.
And Keogh got there. Run out. I think somebody picked you to finish last in the division that year. Might have been Sports Illustrated, in fact.
Well, it seems to me that it might have been that year. I believe it was that maybe a local sports guy pounded some nails in a coffin after the first couple of games of the season that we lost.
Ooh.
And yeah, you just can't tell. I mean, the game's crazy. But we gelled and had a terrific second half.
Brendan Ryan is 0 for 3 tonight. 11 hits and 7 runs for the Mariners. That's ball one to Ryan.
It was the following year, 1987, that I think we got off to a 6-0, 7-0 start. And I thought that was going to be the team. I really did. And then injuries and whatever comes along, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Well, you've heard of people being buried in cemeteries and they were alive, right?
Heard that story. I don't think that'd be a good time at all.
Maybe that's kind of what happened to you guys. Get out of that coffin and surprised a whole lot of people in the second half. The shot, backhanded, now drop. Now Laird guns a throw. Perfect. Pena out number 2. It's Earth Week. Turn off a standard faucet when brushing your teeth or shaving and save up to 20 to 30 gallons of water per person per week. For a family of 4, this can translate into over 6,000 gallons per year. Green is universal. 45 shirt there.
It's actually what these uniforms remind me of. The style of writing.
Yeah. Strike to Jason Bay. Jason Bay has terrific career numbers here at Minute Maid Park. 11 home runs in this ballpark for Jason Bay. And a .297 average. 1-1. Michael Morse does not have a hit tonight, but he came into this with a 9-game hitting streak at Minute Maid and a .429 average. 1-2.
Yeah, that's that tough pitch. We talk about Chris Carter, but just about anybody's going to struggle, generally speaking, on that good little slider, sometimes fastballs down and away.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes.
What a night for Cisnero. Really pitching well.
He is. Fly ball to left. Fernando Martinez moves under it. Back to the warning track. To make it a 1-2-3-8 for Cisnero. He's gone 3 2/3 now, 7-1.
1-1. Our AT&T tweet of the game comes from mustseemilb.tv. Astros prospect Carlos Correa caps first career multi-home run game for the Quad City River Bandits. He had 2 home runs in last night's 12-5 win over Wisconsin. He went 3 for 4. A very nice start for the Astros 2012 #1 overall pick, batting .256 through 11 games, 3 homers, 13 RBI. Guys, it's about time this guy gets his first career multi-home run. He's already 18 years old.
What's taking so long? Yeah. Well, he's going to be fun to watch. We enjoyed seeing him in spring training a little bit. Very, very talented guy, Ash.
How about being 18 and getting a chance with the big league club in the spring and succeeding? He played very, very well. And you see him physically, and he's just such a big guy, an Alex Rodriguez youngster-looking type player. And he, for me, just feels so projectable.
Astros come up now in the bottom of the 8th inning. Jose Altuve is 1 for 3. Oliver Perez is in the game with an ERA of 1.13. His whip is 0.88. That's impressive. That's ball 1. Caps in 1 inning allowed 1 hit and 1 run with no walks. He struck out 1. The Mariners have struck out 10 Astros tonight. The Astros have struck out 183 times this year. This is the 19th game. 1 ball and 1 strike. Altuve took his hitting streak to 8 games with that 3rd inning single. He's on a very nice pace for hits for a season. Foul away, 1 and 2. He's played every game. He's now had 76 at bats this season. Somebody asked Burt Porter yesterday, when do you think you might give Altuve a day off? And he's had 1 day as DH. He said, well, that's the beauty of the DH. He has to do a lot of running or moving around in the game. You can DH him the next day.
When do you think Jose Altuve might want a day off?
Never.
Guy's playing well and anxious to get to the ballpark every day and find his name in the lineup and go play.
2 balls, 2 strikes for the 31-year-old veteran Oliver Perez. He signed with San Diego, and he was traded to Pittsburgh, moved on to the Mets, Washington, and Seattle last year, where in 33 games he had a 2.12 ERA or 29 innings last year. He's from Culiacan, Mexico. He used to be a starting pitcher. Won 12 games for the Pirates in 04 with a 2.98 ERA that year. 3-2.
I don't remember, was it Oliver Perez that came close to pitching a no-hitter against the Astros in Pittsburgh?
I think you're right.
Back in a year where the Pirates looked like they were going to play 500 ball. Late 90s.
The hot shot, good play there, and Seager throws across.
Yeah, I just can't remember. That might take it back too far. Another sharply hit ball by Jose Altuve. Just keeps doing it. Sometimes you'll make outs. They're frustrating. But you keep hitting the baseball this way, and you put yourself among the elite in terms of hitters.
Altuve hit it sharply. Seager has a younger brother, Corey, who was a first-round pick of the Dodgers last year, who is a shortstop. Now Fernando Martinez 0 for 3. There's strike 1. Well, we're checking on Perez. Perez pitched a really good game against the Astros in 04 at Pittsburgh. He won the game 3-1. 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 unearned run, 14 strikeouts. That might have been a game in which he flirted with a no-hitter. Not sure about that.
Certainly could have been the one, and it's also possible that I've got somebody else in mind, and it could have been in the early 2000s. Some of those years certainly start to run together at some point.
Boy, they do, don't they? It's hard to believe this is the 13th season in this ballpark.
Yeah. Holds up quite nicely.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, teams like the Mariners going to love coming here. Well, first of all, it's this trip they're going to love if they have the 2 stops in the 2 Texas cities like they're doing on this trip. They were in Arlington before coming here. That really cuts down on their travel miles. Foul back. Now, not so much if a team from Seattle comes to only 1 Texas city and then heads for someplace like Chicago or Baltimore, but to come on a trip here and spend 6-7 days in Texas, then go back home, that's a pretty good deal for them.
They will still lead once again in Major League Baseball in miles traveled this year, but yeah, you're right. It's one brief respite from all the travel.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Fernando Martinez. They'll go back home after Wednesday afternoon's game, and they'll settle in for a 4-game series with the Angels. Then Baltimore comes into Seattle, and they go out to Toronto and Pittsburgh after that. But supposedly for Major League Baseball, the scheduling is going to be so much easier now with 2 15-team leagues, even though there is interleague play all the time. Perez, one of 2 lefties. Charlie Philbush, the other. They had 3 lefties when the Astros were in Seattle. The roller goes to his glove on 1 big hop, then he tosses it for out number 2.
Jason Castro has been showing signs of really starting to come to life as he drives one tonight off the wall in left field, then turns one around the other way. And that's a good thing to be able to happen because it leaves those scouts who watch the ball games and set up the reports on you as a hitter, wondering, okay, which way do we go? He can drive it to left. He can shoot it down the right field line. Just keep crossing them up.
Well, now let's see what he does. Also his walk. Mike Jorgensen is the guy with the glasses there. And
he's got that perplexed look. What do we do with this guy?
Yeah. How do we move our defense around? There's strike 1. Scout sitting down there and taking note of everything that happens.
You know, I think I just had the name come to my mind. Ricardo Rincon.
Oh, yeah.
Late 1 year, I think late 90s.
Yeah, that was a combined no-hitter. He was the lefty reliever.
Did that finish as a no-hitter?
Yeah, it was a 10-inning no-hitter. And Francisco Cordova was the starter, the right-hander. He went 9, and the Pirates no-hit the Astros in 10 innings. You're right. That was about 97 or so. Struck him out, and that's the 8th inning for Oliver Perez. Moving to the 9th, 7-1 Mariners. features a marquee pitching matchup and, believe it or not, a celebrity chef. Astros pregame live kicks things off at 6:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Chevron, care for your car, brings you tomorrow night's pitching matchup. Showing you Sashi Iwakuma, 32-year-old veteran with a 2-0 record of 1.69 ERA, among the league's best, is 5th best in the American League in ERA. And Bud Norris, 2-2 with a 4.74 ERA. That's the matchup tomorrow night. Pre-game show at 6:30. Jose Veras comes in, and quite a major league debut for Jose Cisnero. Veras is 0-1 and a 6.75 ERA accompanies him to the mound.
The 32-year-old would-be closer for the ball club, not getting a whole lot of work in that regard right now. And so you've got to get your outings in, stay sharp. Worked a total of 6 2/3 innings. 10 hits allowed and 3 walks. Polish those up a little bit.
This is his 8th outing. Cisnero went 3 2/3 innings. He allowed 2 hits, no runs, walking 1 and fanning 1. 47 pitches. Kyle Seager is the batter. Seager has a 2-run homer and a single tonight. Well, that was outstanding for Cisnero. Now I wonder if he'll be here tomorrow. There's strike 1. Tune in. Certainly would only be because the Astros would feel that they would need a fresh arm for tomorrow night's game. That would be the only reason they wouldn't be here. No balls, 2 strikes. That was a terrific job for Cisnero.
Yeah, we've all seen that happen, though. A guy will pitch brilliantly and be informed. We loved what we saw from you, but we've got to get another arm in here for tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
Although, because of the great job Cisnero put up today, the arm should be much more ready to go tomorrow.
There's Iwakuma. In the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Talked about Seager having a younger brother, Corey, first round pick of the Dodgers last year. He has another younger brother, Justin, who's going to UNC Charlotte. It's quite a baseball playing family. Tom Wilhelmsen, the closer for Seattle, is warming up. Dropped it in there and struck him out looking.
And now time for our pitch by pitch presented by Steel Dealers. That takes it back to the 7th inning. Kendry Morales at the plate, and Cisnero gets ahead right away. Then tries to go high with the fastball. Doesn't get the nibble, but breaking ball down and in, and then right back to the high cheese right on by, and Cisnero threw the ball extremely well.
Now Morales comes up here against Veras, and looks at strike 1. Morales homered in the 5th inning, and he's 1 for 3 with a walk. Cubs and Reds are tied 2-2. They're now in the bottom of the 11th at Cincinnati. Shot foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Felix Hernandez threw 94 pitches tonight. 58 were strikes. Lowered his ERA to 2.08. Field. Morales with a hit. It's a long single, and he's 2 for 4.
Well, you get to talking about good hitting throughout the course of any given ball game, and that was a great example. Look at this breaking ball. The location, was that a bad pitch? Not even close. Terrific pitch, and when it's all said and done, even better hitting by Morales.
And number 12 for the M's, Michael Morse next.
Certainly see why Seattle feels that they have a guy that should be a big part of their offense.
Yes. Morales hitting 3rd, Morse hitting 4th in this lineup tonight. 2 newcomers to the Mariners. And they could really help with that big punch that they might bring if they do what they're capable of doing. There's ball one. But the other thing the Mariners talked about was, well, with these two guys, Morales and Morse, established hitters coming into the lineup this year, we can move some of those other hitters down in the order. And some of those guys who were hitting in the middle last year, they won't have the pressure on them. In the dirt. Good sharp breaking ball for a strike. That makes it 1-1.
Kyle Seager, a couple of hits tonight. One of those a home run, his second on the year. But another bat that really could be quite prominent. That's an obvious one. Bat goes through.
Well, things like that allow a team to make a dramatic improvement if guys have those breakthrough years. Ball to the left side. Here's Marlin throwing and Altuve relaying. What a tremendous double play. Gonzalez to Altuve to Pena. And that's the top of the ninth inning. No runs are hit. Nobody left. Here's the beautiful twin play.
You will not see it done better.
Find our fares online only at southwest.com. 7-1 ball game. Here's a beautiful double play on a ball hit by Morse.
You wonder, can Laird get to it? Even though he doesn't, Marwin Gonzalez just so quickly gets this started. And look at this turn from behind the bag, just staying back there. Altuve gets rid of it as quickly as you'll see.
The Astros have turned 24 double plays this year. Alvarez on the bench. And the Astros are ready to come up in the bottom of the ninth against the closer for Seattle, Tom Wilhelmsen. Certainly not a save situation, but he has not worked since 4 days ago. He's 6 for 6 in saves, and he's allowed just 2 hits in 8 innings.
You know, in terms of Marwin Gonzalez and the work he's been doing defensively, you start from the premise that he's not a 30 home run hitter a year as a shortstop, but defensively, boy, is he getting it done.
Yeah. Strike one to Carter. Carter is 1 for 3. Wilhelmsen has saved 6 of the Mariners' 7 wins. He's second in the American League behind Jim Johnson with 7. Baltimore. 1 ball, 1 strike. He really came in last year and established himself as a good closer with 29 saves and 34 opportunities and 87 strikeouts in 79 innings. And it features a big curve. It's 1-2. Over Perez had a 1-2-3-8 with 1 strikeout. Felix Hernandez's 100th career win on the line. And a strikeout. 1 out. That's 12 strikeouts for the Mariners pitching staff tonight. Carlos Pena is 0 for 3. Wilhelmsen, in his last 4 saves, has retired 12 consecutive batters. Took over early last June as the Mariners closer. And he finished tied for 7th in the American League with those 29 saves. He's from Tucson, Arizona, drafted by Milwaukee in 02. Strike to Pena.
Another arm that gets up 97 and maybe occasionally plus.
Amazing, Ash. He was out of organized baseball from 04 through 08.
Wow.
That is hard to believe in an arm like that. Foul ball takes it to 0-2.
Seattle had another guy that went that independent route, Steve Delabar, and another high octane arm now with Toronto. But it's pretty amazing to get guys in that category in your bullpen.
Justin Masterson and the Indians beat the White Sox 3-2. Masterson goes to 4-1 with a 1.85 ERA. 1-2. Chris Perez got his 3rd save. Matt Moore is 4-0 for the Rays. They beat the Yankees 5-1. Moore has a 1.04 ERA for the year. Ryan Roberts hit a couple of homers. Robinson Cano, number 6. Sabathia took the loss. And he looks at one in the dirt. It's 2-2 to Carlos. And coming into this game, the Astros, the previous 6 games, had gotten a total of 15 1/3 innings from their starting pitchers. And that tied the lowest figure in the last 35 years in the majors for a 6-game span by starting pitchers. Tonight, Brad Peacock went 4 1/3, gave up 9 hits, 7 runs. Liner over shortstop into left center field. So Bud Norris will be on the mound tomorrow night. Try to get something going deeper into the game for the Astros. Pena's aboard for Laird now.
Carlos Pena is starting to get something going in here late in the ball game, but utilizing left field once again. There's some severe lean back right there.
He has been going to left.
Hits the ball hard, and when he drives it, he can put it out of any part of any park.
That's hit number 7 for Houston. Brandon Laird 0 for 3 tonight, 2 strikeouts. Strike to him. Jim Johnson got the win for the Orioles. They beat the Blue Jays in Baltimore 2-1 with a run in the 9th. Foul ball. Makes it 0-2. Shelby Miller and the Cardinals beat the Nationals at Washington 3-2. Miller's 3-1 with a 2.16 ERA. Edward Mujica got his 2nd save. That's where the Cardinals are vulnerable right now. Their bullpen because of injuries. Out to center field. Andy Chavez moving over to right center. 2 outs.
Looking for the perfect way to combine business and baseball or a unique space to hold your next event? With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice.
Now 2 outs, runner at first, bottom of the 9th inning, 7-1 Mariners. Justin Maxwell is 1 for 3, a double to left center in the 5th inning. Pena takes off. They're not holding him, not trying to get him, and it's a strike. So Fielder's indifference. He takes 2nd. And it's It's a big time tonight for Felix Hernandez with his 100th win. Ryan takes care of the final out for win number 100 for Felix Hernandez. Only Jamie Moyer with 145 and Randy Johnson with 130 have recorded at least 100 wins in a Mariner uniform, and now number 3 in their history. Felix Hernandez joins them tonight. Final score: Mariners 7, Astros 1.